Diego, Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Skraby. Happy to be home. Padres kicked things off for real on Thursday. Early start. Chris Ello, how are you, my friend?
I'm good.
Wait, real quick.
Yes.
Skraby brought this to my attention when I walked in the door.
Oh, no.
I was about to say, man, good to see you. It's been a long time. Then he reminded me it's only been a week since I last saw you guys. It feels like a week in Arizona feels maybe more like 2.5, 3.
That's because I don't know. We were there for 2 days, Skraby and I, and it felt like we were there for a month and a half.
I feel
maybe
like
it's
that
the
trip
opposite
was a
for
month
us.
and a half ago.
Yeah, it seems the opposite for us, but I don't know. I'm sure you're probably missing the fact that there's a fast food restaurant on every corner in the town you're now living in.
I'm actually not. I actually did a good job.
Did you do good?
I did good.
Did you do well?
I stayed away until the last week. The last week, you don't want to go out and buy any groceries, so you kind of have to.
Yeah.
So you're not throwing a bunch of food away. So
That's a good excuse for going to eat fast food. That's a really good excuse. Instead of going, well, I'm going to go to buy some good dinner and good meals. Nah, I don't know how much to get.
Right.
So I'll just good excuse, Tony. I like that. Makes yourself feel fine.
I'd say 6.5 weeks, 7 weeks, whatever it was.
That's a long stretch.
How much do you actually move in? I was thinking about this last night because cleanup would be terrible just because I know I would leave it all for like 40 minutes before I leave.
Well, for myself, it probably takes about 2.5 weeks to unpack.
You keep everything in the suitcase?
You're not quite like
you don't pull everything out?
Some of it's out. It's not really.
Yeah.
And as you start to look at it enough every day, you're like, let me put this stuff up. It looks horrible. The place looks a mess. So you start hanging stuff up. That took about 2.5 weeks, and then took about day and a half to pack it back up. Do
you? How many times did you do laundry in the 6.5 weeks? I'm curious. And how does Tony Gwynn Jr. go about doing laundry? I'm a
hang dry guy.
So what do you wash it in the sink or
no? You gotta wash it.
What, does he have a thimble on or something? He's like next to the river.
Yeah, he's scrubbing away.
He's out there in the
it's like
in the water in the back.
Well, he just said he hang dries everything.
Folk songs.
You got a little line there, and you hang it on.
I just got the hanger. The closet was big enough where I could put them on the hanger and let them.
But where do you wash it?
In the washing machine. It's in the.
But you don't have a dryer.
No, I have a dryer. Some of the stuff I dry, like my socks and things like that.
So you have okay.
Yeah. No,
I was picturing you having to go down to the laundromat with a big basket of stuff. And sitting in there for like 4 hours while all your stuff tumble dries.
No,
that's not you.
I mean, I had a washer and a dryer that were extraordinarily loud. So you had to make sure it was earlier in the day when you were running. At least I felt like that. But I probably did laundry about somewhere between 8 and 10 times while I was out there.
Not bad. Because there was a rumor going around our basketball with the women's basketball when we went to LSU that if they had won the first game and stayed and somehow won the second game,
they weren't going to watch,
which didn't happen. Obviously, we know this. But had they won both games, the Sweet 16 would have been in Spokane, Washington, and there was some talk that we were going to go straight from Louisiana up to Washington. And I was thinking, wow, we'd be gone forever.
Yeah.
And somebody said, well, they will provide laundry services. I'm like, oh, isn't that nice? Because, I only take one bag down there. I'm like packing for 13 days when I may only be gone for 3.
Yeah, you're not used to those type of trips.
Yeah, I would have been like a Tony Gwynn trip, but it didn't happen, obviously, as you know.
Didn't you this year have an issue with not bringing enough underwear on one of your trips? I feel like we talked about you wearing no, not you, Chris.
Yeah, no,
like,
I always got extra.
I feel like we talked about Chris wearing the same underwear for like 3 days in a row.
All right, we didn't talk about that.
No, I'm serious.
No, you're not serious.
I'm being serious.
Just making stuff.
The longest trip we had was 6 days in the Cancun trip around Thanksgiving. We went down for that tournament, and I have more than 6 pair. So I didn't need to rewear any pairs. So stop it. Don't try to get people thinking about something that didn't happen. Maybe it happened in your own mind.
No, chat, help me.
No, chat ain't gonna help you with that.
I am more than willing to share all of my personal facts.
That's not one of them.
But that is not one of them. So good try.
Wow. Doth protest too much.
All right.
I need to hang dry more because Tony and I talked about this weeks ago. I have shirts that become off black, and Tony has got me saying this. Meaning, Chris, I've washed them so many times they're like a slightly brown color.
Yeah.
And so I read
So
online that if you
tinted
hang
black.
dry, it helps you to not lose the color
Keep
in
the
your
color
shirt.
a little longer.
So since I only wear black clothing, I have to start hang drying.
Or you stop washing it. One of the two.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to stop washing it. So
yeah, no, it's a good little trick to keep the color a little bit longer. I don't know that.
Here's one last wash question, and then maybe we'll get to some sports today. When you get a brand new shirt, brand new, right off the rack or wherever you buy it, or you order it online and they send it to you, do you wash it once before you wear it?
Only hoodies.
Hoodies you wash
Yes.
before you wear
Why?
them.
Well, I don't. First of all, most of the shirts I own now, like t-shirts or collared shirts, aren't the type of material where it leaves little fluffs all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's usually a dry fit.
Yeah.
Whereas most hoodies on the inside, if you don't wash it, you put that bad boy on, you wear it, you take it off, whatever color is on the inside,
Fuzzies
ends up
everywhere.
Fuzzies all over your shirt.
Yeah, definitely.
So I
can
do
understand
wash
that.
hoodies for sure before I wear them.
I have a wife who swears that if you buy a piece of clothing from Nordstrom or something like this, that it has been packed away and it has been put in all kinds of materials and squeezed up against stuff that's really terrible and awful.
So you gotta
Formaldehyde or whatever she said. I don't know. She's like, when I get a brand new shirt anywhere, she's like, you got to wash it before you wear it. I don't like to.
Yeah.
It only feels good and comfortable to me
The
one
first
time.
right?
And that's the first time before I ever wash it. So I don't do what she tells me to do, which is one of the rare things that I can get away with that on, by the way.
Well,
I got more laundry questions, but I think
Go
that's
ahead.
boring.
I mean, we
people.
are 8 minutes into the show talking about laundry.
We only have 3 hours and 52 minutes left. We
Here
can
on
probably
this-
fill it up.
On the Skraby show a couple months ago, I brought up something that my friend thought was amazing and I thought wasn't amazing, and that was a washer-dryer combo, meaning the washer becomes the dryer, and you can't do that because you can't do multiple loads of laundry.
Hey, listen, I've had this. That's the new invention, the 2-in-1.
Yeah.
But
it just slows things
it
down.
does. Like,
doubles up your
You
time.
can't do multiple loads.
Yeah, you talk about doing laundry all day. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Chris, G Ombre says, I remember Chris asking about wearing his underwear
Get
inside
out
out.
of here.
I did. That's what it was. You said, do I turn it inside out? Swear to you.
Oh, the chat is undefeated.
They are.
They always remember things.
You know what? If they said it, it must have happened.
Right.
'Cause
I wouldn't make that up, Chris.
Yes, you would.
First of all, you 1,000% would make that up.
I am a man of upstanding.
Shall we talk some sports?
Sure.
The Padres
This
in
is
action.
pretty fun, actually. I'm not.
The Padres in action starting Thursday. They'll have a workout tomorrow. Mr. Michael King gets the ball in game 1. It looks like Dylan Cease in game 2. Now, I saw to be determined. You say who's going game 3?
I don't know who's going game 3, but I know
that's still
who's
TBD.
4th and 5th in the rotation.
4th is Pavetta.
He's going 4th.
That's what I saw Sunday.
Okay, so the two other pitchers that we didn't officially know about is Randy Vasquez, Kyle Hart.
So one of those two will go.
So that's the 5-man starting rotation for the season.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
That's
what
what
we
we order
expected,
apparently fully yet.
Yes.
Did Kolek get sent back yet?
Yes, he did.
Got sent back.
There was a flurry of moves last night after the Skraby show where they did put Luis Campusano. They optioned him. Let me just go and get the official tweet. We have optioned Luis Campusano, Connor Joe, and Stephen Kolek and Ron Marinaccio to AAA El Paso. That happened last night.
Yeah. The official MLB schedule does not list a starter for the Padres on Saturday in their 3rd game. In their 4th game on Sunday, it doesn't list a starter, but you're saying it's Pavetta in the 4 spot.
Pavetta. That's why I'm betting it's Pavetta.
And then the 5 spot on Monday when Cleveland comes in, completely blank at this point. So anyway, what'd you think of the 13 guys they chose, Tony? Were any surprises? Because I honestly,
no.
To me, there were surprises. Now, you were there. You saw everything that happened, but I maintained all along that I thought Eggy was going to make the team, especially with no options. They wouldn't want to risk losing him to waivers. I thought Tyler Wade was a done deal, although I started to come back on that a little once they got Iglesias because I felt they were the same player.
Yep.
And I also thought Connor Joe, who they went out of their way to sign, who's a good player and had a pretty good spring, I thought he'd make it. And then I was hoping Campusano would make it so that my stupid prediction that he'll be on the All-Star team would stay alive. So those four, surprised me a little bit, a solid amount. But you're telling me this is how it had to be pretty much.
Yeah, I think so. When you're there seeing it every day, I think it presents a little bit different picture. When you look at it from a 10,000-foot view, having a guy like Connor Joe in AAA is a huge depth piece that you.
If he doesn't mind going, do you think he's okay with this? He's been in the big leagues.
I don't think anybody's okay with going down to the minors once you've gotten to the big leagues, especially once you kind of establish yourself as a big league. I know I certainly didn't want to go back down, but as a pro, you go down and you set an example for those young dudes. You go out and you play hard and do all those things that you're supposed to do.
And you're going to get a shot.
And you're going to get
somebody's getting hurt at some point.
Yeah. I think what really messed up the game and threw a kind of a wrench in all of it was the emergence of Brandon Lockridge. That's, to me, changed it. I think it changed it for Tyler Wade. I think it changed it for Connor Joe because Gavin Sheets. Gavin Sheets did what he did.
Right. He had to make the team. He bludgeoned his way onto the roster. He
pretty much did. I'll get more into this on the other side. We got our first break coming up. Going to slide into some more Padre talk. Plus, this damn portal is biting everybody.
You were lucky you weren't here yesterday. It was very depressing.
No, I get it. It felt depressing from however many miles away. So we'll get into some more of that too. On the other side, more Gwynn and Chris.
Hey guys, it's Woodsy. Nothing.
All right, welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. So good to all be in studio here today. The Odyssey Palace Studios. Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby. Don't forget, Thursday is indeed opening day. And 97.3 The Fan invites you to join us at Baja Rick's. It's at 176th Avenue, right across from the Hard Rock. Next door, basically, to the ballpark. Going to be celebrating opening day. Ben and Woods will broadcast beginning at 6 a.m., followed by the Braden Surprenant Experience.
Are you going to rename his show too?
Yes, I am. Braden Surprenant Show? You guys are so boring. I mean, come up with something, will you?
Okay, Gwynn and Chris.
I love that. I love that Chris is just renaming all you guys' show. That's
Braden
great.
Surprenant Experience will go till noon. We'll have deals on Coors Light, Blue Moon, Topo Chico, plus a special breakfast menu, $10 footlong TJ Dog special Blowfist Tequila, premium margaritas. It's all opening day, 97.3 The Fan at Baja Rick's, 6 a.m. to noon before the game Thursday. Opening day, Skraby and I will be on after Sam Levitt's post-game show. So we will be on as well after the game. Tony, Jesse, I trust you guys are in mid-season form, ready to call a real game on Thursday. So I heard, though, I think I was listening to the Skraby Chronicles last night.
Oh, gosh.
I heard that there's not going to be any vendors walking around the stadium this year. So,
well, thanks for stealing the thunder from the Skraby show. But I have to.
What did I hear? Did I hear any
why
error
do
there?
I tell this guy anything? I don't understand why I tell this guy anything. I was going to address it on the Skraby show.
Yeah, well, I want you to address it now.
Maybe some Gwynn and Chris listeners.
There's a lot of people who carry over and listen to that, and they don't think there's going to be a peanut vendor this year because of you.
I pride myself on saying the right things, and I trusted information yesterday that wasn't true. And if I'm going to come on here and yell at everybody else for going with bad information and making fun of them, then I deserve all the jokes over here because I had bad information on the vendors.
Stand up guy.
Stand up. When I realized this happened, my heart sunk because I realized that I needed to go and make an apology to everyone. There will be vendors walking around going, "Peanuts, yeah, get your peanuts." I think I should try out. That was pretty good. And they're going to be actually more than last year.
Yeah, that was the funny part. Was it? They're actually.
You didn't say they're going to be less. You said they're going to be none.
I did say that.
Yeah.
I did say that.
Right.
And
I want to clear this up.
I am
for everybody.
wrong. I am wrong. There will be vendors walking around.
That's fine.
I apologize. I was waiting for a text message all morning from the boss.
Oh, really? You thought you were going to get in?
I thought I was going to get in trouble
for this one.
Yeah, because
spreading it.
Because I'm spreading rumors about Petco Park. I can't be doing that. I understand the error in my ways.
Well, that's why I brought it up. I wanted to be able to correct
Chris.
it.
Thanks, Chris.
I'm giving you I'm giving you a stage to correct your error and get back on track. That's all.
Thank you.
Giving you a forum.
I appreciate that.
There you go.
Present.
You handled the forum well.
Yes, you were good.
Thank
all
you.
Right, so now that is all set, we're good to go.
I'm sweating.
Let's get back to the 13-man Padre player roster.
Word up.
And Brandon Lockridge.
Yeah.
Who, when we interviewed him no more than, 6 days ago, Tony, he himself, he gave off the vibe to me, maybe to you, but to me, that he himself didn't really think he was going to make it. I think he felt like he was preparing for the worst.
I think he was.
Hoping for the best, but he didn't think he was going to get there. And I'm sure, he's ecstatic to know that he earned that spot.
I don't know that I've necessarily been in his exact shoes, but I've been in shoes similar.
Uh-huh.
And you have to protect yourself for the worst, right? So that you can bounce back quickly and
get back
to work.
Yeah.
Because I've been on this side, first time you ever get sit down and you got your mind thinking, I'm going to the big leagues. It is a hurt that you just haven't experienced when you want something really bad and you've made it up in your mind that it's going to happen.
Right.
And then it doesn't happen. It's tough. That takes longer to kind of bounce back from. So I totally get where he was coming from. That being said, boy, he earned it the hard way.
Good.
I mean, his his performance during spring was so impressive that, like, I've seen a lot of spring trainings. You go to a lot of spring, guys start off hot and, they tail off, or guys get hot somewhere in the middle. They kind of tail off. It's kind of, for him, it was like literally a gradual climb from the moment of spring training game 1 to the end. He seemed to hit the entire time, but he was making some base running mistakes early when he was trying to.
He said he was trying to
push gauge to figure out where he wanted to be.
Yeah.
Once he figured that out, man, it just seemed like he was making the right play, doing the right thing, and he did it all in the skill set that the Padres can use. The one thing that I think was big for Tyler Wade last year was the fact that he could spell Manny early, but if Jackson needed a day, he could go out and play center. With Brandon Lockridge having the spring he had, who was a natural center fielder.
Right.
It kind of took that.
Big factor.
And then to bring up the point that you also brought up in Iglesias signing, that kind of took away the other thing that Wade did so well.
Yeah.
And so it became a really tough spot for T. Wade because of the performances of not just Lockridge, but also Iglesias. Iglesias could have showed up there and, looked horrible. He didn't. And, I think that coupled with how Iglesias ignited that Mets team last year, it's tough to remove that from your mind.
Yeah.
I think that all played a part in, T. Wade being off. I think it played a part in Connor Joe having to go down. Remember, these guys also had, or at least
Connor
Joe and Gonzalez had options. Oscar Gonzalez led the team in hitting, I think, the whole time. Outside, I think he was right below in hits, I should say.
Yeah.
He had options. And so it's an easier decision. When a guy has options, you're going to be able to keep him. More depth. Connor Joe, more depth. Campusano, more depth. Now, listen, when you're talking depth, you're not talking about all-star caliber players. No team is really talking about all-star caliber players when it comes to depth.
Yeah, hopefully no team is so loaded that they're sending all-stars to the minor leagues.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think the Padres have positioned themselves well, at least from a position player standpoint, to be able to bring some guys up if they need to that you feel comfortable with.
Just one last thing on this, because you talked about Brandon Lockridge and how he had prepared himself for the worst, and it all worked out. I didn't get the feeling that Connor Joe did prepare himself to get sent down. I don't know, but I'm thinking he felt he was here to make this squad, and he felt like he had done well this spring to make this squad. So that's my question. I know he has to accept going down. He has to do the job.
Yeah.
But how tough is it going to be for a guy that's been in the big leagues basically for 3 straight years, to swallow his pride?
I don't think Connor's a pro. I don't think he'll have any problem swallowing his pride. I think the other thing that is kind of nice for him is he did sign a big league deal. So even though he's out in El Paso, he's getting big league deal money. He's getting that kind of cheese. So
does he have to buy dinner for everybody every night?
It is something a vet like him would do if he was down there. Now you can get away with an Outback kind of big meal for everybody down at the 3A. So I think that's something he'll probably do at some point. But I'm sure he wasn't happy to go be told the news, but I do know he's a pro, and I do know we're going to see him at some point. And I know he's going to go down there and do what he's supposed to do so that when they come a calling, he'll be ready. But just think, you couldn't imagine that before we got to this point that you'd have a guy like,
we didn't even feel like we're going to have enough players for a while.
Have a Connor Joe, have a Oscar Gonzalez who swung the bat so well, have somebody Campusano down there. Like, these are guys that can contribute at a big league level. I think Mike Schultz said it best, right? He said, these are all big leaguers. We just only have so many spots on this roster right now.
How much do you think Maldonado's going to start? How much do you think Elias Diaz is going to start? Because I kept seeing Maldonado in the lineup all spring long.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if Diaz is catching, the ceases, the the Kings, the Pavettas, and the young dudes are tasked with throwing to
Maldonado
That
to learn.
I could see that scenario. I don't know exactly. I'm sure the matchups that they're facing are going to play a large part in it, but I can see a scenario in which they try to line it up the best they can like that.
Diaz is not, by the way, a liability as a defensive catcher.
No, I wouldn't.
He's just not Maldonado,
right?
Who is like one of the best defensive catchers you could possibly be.
When you watch him deal with like the younger pitchers, he just, I don't know. He has something about him that you pick up on when you're at a game watching him kind of do his thing. He's obviously, a bat that he has a bat that lacks, to be fair. But he brings a lot to the table defensively and in terms of your pitching. And so that's the way the staff decided. Yeah, staff decided to go.
Shook out. All right, we'll talk more Padres for sure. Tony touched on it earlier, but the March sadness continues for San Diego State basketball. Not only did they get bounced out of the tournament far sooner than they had hoped, but now Magoon Gwath is basically gone, as is Skraby kept playing that yesterday, trying to get me to laugh.
I'm taking this
the only way I could do it.
I'm taking the Magoon Gwath news very hard.
Everybody is. We all are. Nick Boyd is also out. So what does this mean? And is Brian Dutcher onto something when he says, get used to this? It's not going to get better, right? It's going to probably get worse before it gets better. And can San Diego State ever compete at the highest level again? I think Mark Ziegler will have some thoughts on that. We'll chat with him when we come back on Gwynn and Chris.
Ben and Wood.
Well, today is Tuesday, right?
Yes.
So
yes,
it's
it is.
my time, huh? Join 97.3 The Fan this Saturday as we broadcast live at Tom's Watch Bar on 8th and J from 10 a.m. to 3:15 p.m. For the East Village Block Party, Ben and Woods will hit the air at 10 a.m., followed by Braden's Apprentice Show and Gwynn and Chris. Check out all the baseball action while enjoying Blue Moon and Coors Light, along with delicious food like Tom's famous prime rib dip sandwich. That's this Saturday at Tom's Watch Bar on 8th and J Street, brought to you by Blue Moon. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
You better get that prime rib dip sandwich early because I'll be ordering a few of those.
Someone
don't get there on
actually
time.
texted me and said that prime rib sandwich is to die for.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I like
give me some
meat. I like a good
I've already
prime
called
rib
ahead.
sandwich.
I've already called.
Oh, you've
ahead.
already reserved your prime
I've
rib sandwich?
reserved my sandwich. Yes.
Okay, Chris is going to be there front of the line for the prime rib sandwich.
I'm ready.
Mark Ziegler will join us here shortly. Going to talk a little bit about what feels like doom and gloom right now.
It has to.
It's I think the loss was tough, but at least you could start wrapping your mind around. All right, well, we got a young team, got some guys coming back that obviously good enough to be Houston. I mean, we got some dudes, and then you are brought back to the new reality that we're in now, which is this is a year-to-year thing, and whatever happens at the end of the season, you better cut the book off there, and you basically start a new book because there is no guarantee that there's going to be any carryover from one year to the next because there's so much turnover from one year to the next.
Yeah, it's really tough. The one thing I keep hanging my hat on, and I'll ask Mark Ziegler about this, is that Brian Dutcher and his staff always find a way to get other guys to come in and
that's what I'm hanging my
really
hat on.
Contribute. The question is, how much longer can he do this when he's at that big of a disadvantage? Because I'll give you an example. From what I understand, the women's basketball team went out last year. They needed a post player. They ended up getting Callie Clark, who was really good for them. But she was the best that they could afford. And I'm not trying. I mean, there was other players that they were interested in that said, no, I need more.
Right.
So they had to, no, we will take Callie. That was in our budget. It worked out great.
Yeah.
But
clearly.
my point is, Brian Dutcher is not going to have the same budget as another school that's trying to get the same kid. Right. So how long can he keep, matching up?
Well, we got the perfect person to ask on the other side. Mark Ziegler joins us, Union Tribune. Mark, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing okay. Trying to recover from the season. As Chris will tell you, it's a bear.
It's a grind. I look at Chris every day after he does those games. The Aztec Nation is feeling sick, if you will, Mark. Couple tough news transfers, whether they were expected or not, I'm not sure, but I know that it feels very dark right now. I know that this is the new normal, so I won't ask you that. But I think the question on most people's eyes most people's minds is that with this being the way it is, can San Diego State continue to compete at the level that, quite frankly, we've become accustomed to at this point, given the way things are, the landscape?
I think it depends on how you define continue to compete. As far as mid-majors go, absolutely, they'll be the top of the mid-majors because the good news is right now, the rest of the roster is coming back. They lost one guy, Magoon Gwath, who I think anyone around the program knew was leaving. The money was just going to be too big, and the people around him weren't interested in continuity. They're interested in the money grab. I get it. So he was gone. I think Nick Boyd surprised them a little bit, just like Elijah Saunders surprised last year, but here's the same thing. But the rest of the roster is a really good core returning. When you look at what the rest of the Mountain West, what other mid-majors have coming back, whether it's Gonzaga, St. Mary's, San Diego State's in really good shape. And remember, they're going to add pieces from the transfer portal. They might not be high-profile pieces, but they're going to be probably pretty good. They've had a good record of evaluating guys and finding good value. And so when it's hard to look at the roster right now and people say, oh my gosh, they're not going to be any good. Well, you haven't seen what 4 players they're going to add, 3 or 4 or 5 players. And so until we know that, it's hard to judge. But yes, they'll be able to compete at the mid-major level. But there's really a gap now between the top 3 power conferences and the rest of the country. And whether they're going to be able to get into that stratosphere is going to be harder and harder without the money.
Yeah. We talked about it 2 years ago, Mark, that when they were making their run toward the Final Four, it was exciting, but it was also something that they really had to take advantage of, because the likelihood now of them being able to make that kind of a run is almost ridiculous to think about. You talked about the top 3 conferences. They have 15 of the 16 spots in the Sweet 16, and the only one who's not one of the Power 3 is Duke. So I'd say they're pretty power. Almost impossible now for these mid-majors. They can win a game or 2 in the NCAA tournament, but they can't do what the Aztecs did 2 years ago under these circumstances. Can they?
It's really, really hard. It's going to be hard unless something changes. I don't think anything's going to change. Now, this year is really skewed because with the anticipation of the House settlement and revenue sharing starting next fall, schools are like, okay, we're going to have $20 million to spread mostly among football and men's basketball players. And most schools are allotting about $4 million to basketball, the rest to football, and a small amount to other athletes, very small amount. And so what they thought was, okay, collectives and revenue sharing will be one and the same. And I talked to Jeff Smith, the head of the Mason Foundation. He said, look, we sat in a meeting 2 months ago, and we started talking about what kind of dollar figure we're going to need and to be competitive. And they thought the top programs would be 3.5, 4, maybe a few would be at 5, and that would be it. And what happened was that because the House settlement won't be approved till the spring, and the NIL quote unquote clearinghouse, which is supposed to rein in on these crazy NIL deals, would go into effect July 1st. All these collectives have money sitting in the bank, and they got to get rid of it by July 1st. So it's the collective plus the revenue sharing. And so that takes many of the top programs up to 10 million, minimum 8. And here's San Diego State sitting at 2.5 million, thinking, wow, we've done a really good job. And they have. They've done an incredible job they don't get enough credit for in raising this kind of money from nothing. But now it's not even in the ballpark. I mean, they might have been 50% short before, 30% short before. Now these programs have 3 or 4 times as much money as they have, and they can't compete. And so until that gets changed, I don't think we'll see a change. Now the big question is, with this revenue NIL clearinghouse as part of the revenue sharing agreement, will they really be able to rein these things in? I'm the first to say no. I mean, we live in a market economy. A judge will take one look at it and say, why can't you pay this kid X amount of dollars? Who says you have to restrain that amount of money? And it's, when that happens, it goes into court and the whole thing gets thrown out the window and we're back to square one. But I guess there is some hope that next year it goes down a little bit. They're more competitive.
Mark Ziegler joins us here, Union Tribune. And Mark, I think that might be the most disheartening part, is that there may not be any help coming in terms of some regulation. It seems like it's the wild, wild west out there. Why can't there be any type of regulation or some rules at least that would, I don't know, enhance the game a little bit and at the same time pay these young athletes?
Well, if you've tracked the NCAA's record in court lately, it's like 1 in 10. So they're not winning any court cases, and that's the problem. They're toothless. They don't, they could try to put rules in place. They're just going to get shot down in court. And there's things right now that we just take for granted, like an athlete can only play for 4 years. Well, as soon as you start paying an athlete from an institution, what's for an athlete not to go to courts and say, why can't I play for a 5th year, 6th year, 7th year? It's a job. This is money. This is restrained trade. Well, that's just an arbitrary figure you're pointing out. Why do I have to go to class? What does that have to do with anything? And so these things that we just sort of hold dear about the college model are just completely being blown apart, and will continue to be so. So now, that said, yeah, it's a dark picture, but again, San Diego State is at the top of the mid-majors, and that's impressive because when you look at it, there's 364 Division I schools, and there's only about 60 to 70 power conference schools. And so if you look at the other, 290 schools out there, San Diego State's in that top 2 or 3 of those 290. That's very impressive. And I think people need to, to keep things in perspective. And look how hard it is to win in football, and they're really struggling there. Basketball, they've been able to have some kind of continuity. And again, remember, they had a very young team with a lot of new pieces, hadn't played in those roles, were learning stuff. They're going to have an older team next year because they're going to have one incoming freshman. Everyone else will have had a year, at least a year in the program, some 2 or 3, and they're going to add some veteran experience to the portal. So, I wouldn't rule this team out, but it's just that it becomes harder and harder and harder for them. But I still think it's going to be a very good team next year.
Mark Ziegler's with us from the Union Tribune. Here's the thing too, Mark. We talked about this yesterday, Skraby and I. The players are doing all of this. They're going into the portal. They're leaving. It seems like they have no loyalty. Everybody's mad at the players. Try to explain, that the money's out there now, and it's pretty hard to pass up. But while the players are moving, so are the coaches. And I look at Nico Medved, Colorado State, who I respect, think he's a really good coach. But when he takes the Minnesota job about a half an hour after his team is eliminated from the NCAAs, seems like something isn't right there. I mean, I can't imagine that they worked out a contract and everything just in a half an hour. Pretty sure he had it all lined up before his team was eliminated. So the coaches are moving around. The players are moving around. Brian Dutcher, how do we know that we can keep him forever and ever and ever?
Well, he has a really good contract. First of all, he makes $2.5 million now. He could have gone to Minnesota, a place like that, and Nico's going to make $3 million a year. But I think he's a frugal enough person that money isn't that important to him. He's got granddaughters living here. He's got his daughters living here just a mile away. He's not going anywhere. I mean, toward the end of his career, he loves it here, and he's well compensated. So I think that's you're lucky that you have a guy like that who has those kind of values and is at that age and years in his career. But to your point about the coaches leaving, yeah, of course they're leaving, but there's a difference between coaches and players leaving. When Nico Medved leaves Colorado State gets a buyout. I don't know what it is, but if Brian Dutcher left, I think this year it's like $5 or $6 million that the school would get. Now I don't think most of them are that high, but maybe Nico Medved is $1 million. Colorado State gets $1 million. They get compensated for him leaving. San Diego State gets 0 for Magoon Gwath leaving and 0 for Nick Boyd leaving, and that's the that's the hard part. And one other thing I want to say about Nick Boyd, I know people are probably more upset at him than Magoon Gwath, but if you look at it from his perspective, and I'm maybe going to put some words in his mouth, but he's got 1 year left of eligibility, right? He's probably not going to be an NBA player if we're being honest. He's going to end up in Poland making $100,000, $125,000 a year playing in Europe for a good team probably, but not making a ton of money, making good money for a college graduate. This is his last year of real earning power. And if you're him, you're looking at, of course he wants to stay in San Diego. He loves the hustling. He loves the fans. He loves everything about the program. But if you're only going to make a few $100,000 from San Diego State and you can make $800,000 to $1 million, which is the number I've been hearing for him, and this is your 1 year to do it, you'll probably make more in this year than you might in your entire pro career overseas. You have to take it at a certain level. I mean, it's hard to blame a guy for not taking it. It's easy for us later in life to say we have the perspective money isn't everything. But when you're a 22-year-old kid and you're looking at that and you're faced with those kind of numbers, I don't blame a guy for taking it. It's the system that I would blame more than the player.
Yeah, Zeke. I mean, and I've always felt like those type of guys who know that they don't have necessarily that option to play at the next level. Of course, this could be your biggest payday in your lifetime. So why wouldn't you take it in those circumstances? Mark Ziegler joins us here, Union Tribune, and Mark, it never seems that Dutch is rattled by any of this.
I know.
And I know there's a part of him that after having the meeting with Boyd, after having the meeting with Magoon Gwath, he's got to be a little bit irritated, but he doesn't seem to show that. He just goes out, recruits the next bunch of guys that are going to come in here, and they go out and win. Why does he seem to be less affected by this than everybody else? I know this is part of the duties of being a head coach at the college level, but he seems to have handled this better than some coaches out there.
I'll give you 2 words: Steve Fisher. That's who he worked under for all those years.
I was going to say.
Steve Fisher was.
That's funny,
right?
Yay, Mark! We're on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Fisher is the ultimate. His mantra is next play, next play, next play. And in fact, I even, I wrote a story about that. My daughter was in, I don't know, 8th grade or 9th grade, happened to read it. And when she did her senior quote in high school in the yearbook, it's "Next Play" by Steve Fisher. And it's a great, philosophy of life. You just got to move on, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you just have to look at the next challenge. And I think Brian Dutcher's learned that as well as anybody has. And he's looking at it as a challenge, but he's also looking at, look, there's nothing I can do. The kid's gone. The system's broken. I got to find a way around it. I got to find a cheat code somewhere, somehow. And if you notice, right after Magoon left, they posted a video of him with a plea for money, which is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I mean, if fans are upset and they don't want to see this happen, they need to donate like, the fans are at Kentucky or Auburn or somewhere else. And it's unfortunate, and it's awful that it's being laid at the fans' feet, but that's pretty much where we're at right now in college sports. And it's a reality. It's an uncomfortable reality, but that's the reality. And so I think he's moved on. And, he always says there's always players out there. And you have to remember something. They beat Houston, okay, who could win the national championship here as a number 1 seed. They beat Houston in November, and Magoon Gwath just sort of had an okay game. He wasn't a factor at all. Nick Boyd played pretty well, but guys like Fair Compton had big games, and Jared Coleman-Jones, who they just kind of found from Middle Tennessee, had really big games. And so they're going to have Reese Waters next year. They'll find somebody else, and that's his mentality. I'll find somebody else, and we'll move on.
Last thing, Mark, you touched on it. Why don't we have a multi-billionaire that lives in San Diego that's an Aztec grad that can, put us to the next level? I mean, we're the 8th biggest city in the country. We've got some big business here. It's got to be at least as big as it is in Baton Rouge, where LSU people are donating money, right? So has anybody looked into why we can't find our sugar daddy, as it were?
The Mace Foundation has about 1,500 members, and they realized very early on there was no whale. They tried. They just said, look, let's go find 2 or 3 whales, and that will be our Mesa Foundation.
Right.
And they realized they weren't going to find them. So they said, now we've got to go nickel and dime. They've got 1,500 people. They need to get to like 5,000. But just to get to 1,500 to me is incredible.
Yeah.
And those are people, 80% of those people are giving less than $1,000, I believe. And so the problem in San Diego, and I'm going to overgeneralize here, I'm probably going to piss off people in Lubbock, Texas, but I think the perspectives and the priorities here are different. We live in a very blue state. We live in a state that is very caring, for better or for worse. And people who have lots of money are looking at this. I can give it to an 18-year-old kid who probably doesn't deserve it. He's already getting a free education and may or may not be any good, and there's really no return on investment. Or I can give it to a homeless shelter. I can give it to a foster kid's home. I can give it to cancer research. And so I think there's a lot more of that going on in this community than there is in many others in the South or in small college towns. Remember, this is a basketball program that is rare and that is really popular in a big city. Most of the big cities don't have big-time college basketball programs. It's all in small college towns. And the people there, their entire identity is wrapped up in that college and its success. And so I think they're much more apt to giving a larger amount or larger percentage of their disposable income to a college basketball program than people here are. And I don't know if you can criticize people here for thinking that way, but I think there's something to that, and that makes it just a little bit more of a challenge here. Plus, we don't have a culture of athletic giving. We just don't. It's not like they do in the South. So those are all hurdles that they have to get over, and they're getting over them, but they're just not getting over. Every time they get over them, the goalpost moves.
Goalpost continuous.
And can I just say that was so well explained? Like, I listened to that, I'm like, okay, I get it. Thank you, Mark. That was that's why he's our
I don't
MVP
know if it's true or not, but it sounds good.
It did. That's what I mean. I'm going with it.
Thank you, Mark.
Next time somebody asks me, I'm just going to play him that tape.
Yeah, we got that clip now.
Got a clip.
Mark, as always, man, appreciate you coming on, spend some time with us.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you.
Yeah,
Mark Ziegler, Union Tribune, laying it out.
Yeah, that's it.
For
It's
us.
honesty.
Yeah.
Honesty is the best policy, and that's what's happening. And we're getting the questions. I'm getting it from all the Aztec fans. I'm sure you are, Tony. And what can we do? Why is it this way? Those are all the answers.
I think those
are the answers.
Those are some starting points for sure.
Yeah.
All right,
Chris, you should donate half your paycheck to the Aztec Foundation.
That'll get us, a new equipment manager maybe somewhere.
Oh, what about the guy from McNeese? Do you think we could pry him away?
The guy with 7 NIL deals?
Yeah.
An equipment manager?
We probably can't afford him at this point.
It's true, which is insane.
Let's get to break. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side. Daily Gambit up next.
And welcome back. Hour number 2. Gwynn and Chris, 97.3. The Fan, Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., and Matt Skraby, all together in the Odyssey Palace Studios. We'll be here together tomorrow. And then we will part ways once again as the season will get underway on Thursday, opening day. 97.3 The Fan will be down at Baja Rick's with the Ben and Woods program starting at 6 in the morning. Braden Soprennant Experience after that show.
I don't know why, but I feel like Braden, I don't think he would like the Experience name.
Well, I'm giving it to him anyway.
Okay.
This is the Gwynn and Chris show, so I mean,
yeah, we've already used show.
Okay.
Skraby and I will be on after the game Thursday. Sam Levitt is back from Peoria. He dragged in here for a minute, so good to have him back and everybody getting set for the 2025 season. We're going to start getting ourselves set for it. Our American League division predictions throughout the show today. If you're a fan of the AL East.
Showtime!
Oh, man. Do you want to put me in a bad mood? You play that.
Tessitore? I'm excited about these picks.
Wow.
Showtime!
All right. AL East division, we will focus on those picks in about 15 minutes. Padres have made pretty much their final roster moves ahead of opening day. With Luis Campusano, Connor Joe being optioned, and then pitcher Stephen Kolek and Ron Marinaccio also going to AAA El Paso. So the 5-man rotation is set. It's going to be Vasquez. It's going to be Kyle Hart working along with Pivetta and Cease, and the opening day starter Michael King. So yeah, you got it all. We're ready. Got our 26.
Real quick before we hop into this, you guys want some fun facts from MLB 2024?
Yes, of course.
State of the game. Average game time in 2024 was 2:36, 4 minutes shorter than 2023, 34 minutes less than the average game time in 2021.
Wow, how much? 34?
34.
That's a big difference.
Huge
over the
difference.
course of a season.
That's 3 hours and 4 minutes versus
2:30.
2:30.
Yeah. That's a whole TV show you could watch.
Yeah, no kidding. Continued to cut out dead time between pitches with runners on base, duration of pitching changes, and length of batter timeouts all decreased. So all those things that can add to time all went down. Only 0.25 violations per game. That's 1 every 4 games. A 78% and 78% of the games didn't have any violations at all.
It's going in the right direction.
I saw something last night real quick, and then Daily Gambit.
I got some more little tidbits.
Oh, you got
for
more?
Yeah.
You want to do it
Modifications
now?
for 2025. You want to hear these shift restriction penalties? The change when an illegally positioned infielder fields a batted ball, the batter is placed on first base, and all runners advance 1 base. That's a change from last year. The rationale behind it: placing the hitter at first base is more logical reward than adding a ball to the count and returning the hitter to the plate. Let's see. Running through second or third base. This was the one that
we talked about.
We talked a little bit about it.
Oh,
right?
Where you run out into the outfield to try and get a guy in from third.
Right.
Yeah.
If a runner runs through second or third base on a potential force play and is ruled out on the field, he can be called out for abandonment if he is ruled safe on instant replay, but does not attempt to hold the base or advance to the next base. Enforcement call may only be made by the replay official when a force out at second or third is overturned.
I like. I would love to see an umpire announce to the crowd that the runner is out because of abandonment.
Yeah, that would be
something
fun.
Brand new.
That would have to be. They would have to open their mics and actually say those.
Wouldn't that
things.
be nice if the umpires could do that this year for us?
It would be nice.
They have the technology to do so. The NFL officials do a really good job of explaining. What was the ruling again in the playoff game where Green Bay or Washington kept jumping offside and Philadelphia kept trying to tush push?
Yeah.
And the ref said, I forget what he said.
He said something along the lines as if they continue to do it,
we can award a touchdown. Yeah, something like that. It was really funny.
That's all I got.
All right, very good. I'll tell you what I watched last night a little bit later, but it kind of goes along with what you're talking about. Let's do Daily Gambit instead now.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. I just got to say, this Juju Watkins injury, everybody's always complaining about seeing it, but the ESPN literally shows the play 150 times.
That was heartbreaking.
It was. You saw her go down. You saw her in a lot of pain. But ESPN has no issues with replaying this 150 times.
I refuse to watch it.
It's not like gross or anything. It's just a bad moment for her.
Yeah.
So.
Well, she's out not only the rest of the season, but
most of
who
next
knows how
season.
much of next season too. It's a shame.
It's a shame. I mean, Paige
Beckers
went through the same thing. I think her sophomore year, she tore ACL.
Yeah, it's women's college basketball has so much star power that it never had before. But it hurts to lose maybe
this
your biggest star.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't see
right
torn
here in the
ACLs
tournament.
often in a basketball game.
Oh, yes, you do.
You know, I believe
Yes, you
studies
do.
show that women are more susceptible to
Yeah.
ACL tears.
Yeah, I can name at least half dozen Aztecs that have happened to over the years.
Really?
If not more. Yeah.
All right, well, false information again by Matt Skraby over here.
You don't hear about ACLs very
Nobody
much.
ever gets hurt
I
playing
was trying to think,
basketball.
like, when was the last time I heard of an ACL? I hear groin, I hear foot, I hear back, I hear whatever the heck, what's his name? Embiid is complaining about at the moment. Anyway, let's get into it. LSU women last night, minus 10.5 against Florida State. Chris and I went LSU. LSU won by 30. UConn women, minus 29.5. And Chris, it's not SDSU, it's SDST is how they South Dakota State. I think SDSU might be actually taken, so you can't use it.
Sorry.
Anyway, UConn minus 29.5 against South Dakota State. We both chose UConn. UConn won 91-57, so they barely covered, but they crushed South Dakota State.
Yeah, they did.
Lakers minus 4.5 at the Orlando Magic. Chris chose the Lakers. I chose the Magic. Magic win 118-106. Denver minus 3 against the Bulls. Chris chose Denver. I chose the Bulls. Bulls win 129-119.
Notice how I'm not popping off to Tony because
Bulls won. They beat our butt.
I know they did, but the two teams play again Thursday
Oh, we'll get our
in
get back.
Chicago. Right. If the
Time
Bulls,
to get our lick back.
if the Bulls get that win, then I will be popping off, but not until then.
All right, next one. Jason Tatum. Who had more points? Jason Tatum at the Kings or Ant-Man at the Pacers? Chris went Ant-Man. I went with Jason Tatum. Even though Jason Tatum got hurt, he still scored 25 points. And Ant-Man scored 17.
Yeah, Jason Tatum twisted his ankle, had to leave the game on a three-pointer that he shot from right in front of the bench, like
that's them
30
guys'
feet
foot
away.
underneath him.
He
Yeah.
landed, but he still made the shot. I mean, that's these guys are crazy good.
They are. Last one, Giannis. I almost called him Jonas. I don't know why. Giannis, over under 51.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Chris and I went over. He went 31, 10, and 5 for 46, so we lose that one.
He didn't quite make it. All right, we've got OKC on the road at Sacramento tonight. OKC favored by 9 on the road. They've won 6 in a row. They have the best record in the NBA. They're 13 games ahead of second place in the West. Yet nobody thinks they're going to win the whole thing.
Nobody.
It's really crazy. They're 13 games clear, but no one seems to believe in them. I'll start. I'll take Sacramento plus the points. Sacramento's embroiled in that fight to get into the playoffs right now. Just a half game ahead of Phoenix and Dallas for the last couple of spots. So Sacramento needs it more.
By the way, that's their own fault that no one believes in because they got ran out the gym last year when everybody was thinking that they had a chance.
That's true.
Dallas ran them right out of the building.
We'll see what happens this time. Who do you like here, Tony? OKC minus 9 at Sacramento.
OKC.
OKC anyway. Script?
OKC.
Okay, can you see? Golden State Warriors minus 5.5 at Miami. This is Jimmy Butler returning
returns.
to Miami.
He swears he's not like
He's not bothered.
worried about it.
He's lying.
He's not bothered.
He is lying because he didn't show up to work for like 3 weeks and he lost a bunch of money.
No, that's not what he says.
Tony, who do you like here?
He also said he didn't poop his pants, and he did. So
He didn't poop his pants. I explained that one.
Tony said it was icy hot.
Skraby, nobody's going to believe anything you say after today.
You're just making up stuff.
You're just making up all kinds of stuff. Come on.
What was that? What was the question?
Warriors.
Give me the Heat.
Taking Miami.
Cover, baby.
Oh.
They gonna show some pride.
Okay.
I'm going to go Warriors.
GSW. Heat just snapped a 9-game losing streak, which was the longest they ever had under Eric Spoelstra. But I'll take Miami here as well. I think they're going to, like Tony said, a little pride against Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's over-under is 20.5 points tonight, though.
He getting over that.
Skraby?
Over.
Over. You think he's going to, he's got to light him up for 21.
He doesn't really care, but he cares.
Yeah, right. LA Kings minus a goal and a half hosting
real quick before you answer this.
Yep.
Are the Kings in playoff contention?
LA Kings, yes, they are.
Because I saw the first playoff commercial for NHL,
coming up.
And at the very end, a King highlight got in there, and so I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, they're back, they're in it again."
Top 3 teams in each division go, and the Kings are 9 points ahead of 4th place, so they're in very good shape to make the playoffs. They're 1.5 goal favorite over the Rangers tonight. Rangers are on the outside looking in right now. My pick, I'll take Kings at home. They've been dynamite at home this year, the Kings. Not as good on the road, but listen to this home record.
Picking when they were on the road every time.
Listen to this home record. 25-3-4. Only lost 3 games at home all year. Kings. Tony, they're at home tonight if you want to use that information.
Yeah. I'm definitely using it. Give me
Kings.
King, man.
It's great.
Kings.
All going Kings. And then one more NHL tonight. We don't normally do a lot of it, but the top 2 teams in the league this year are matching up tonight in Winnipeg. Winnipeg has the best record in the West. Washington Capitals have the best record in the East.
How close is my man getting to Gretzky?
7.
Close. Yeah.
7. Yeah. Ovechkin's
I've been seeing
7
him
away.
chip away at it all year.
He's getting there. Winnipeg is favored by 1.5 because they're at home tonight. This is the big matchup in the league. Tony, who do you like here? Winnipeg, Jets, or Ovechkin and company?
I'm going to have to go with Ovechkin and company.
You like Ovechkin.
I don't want to beat Gretzky's record, but it seems
I'm the same way.
I think it seems inevitable.
I like
now.
Ovechkin also, but I really think this is a record that Gretzky should always have.
I think he should have it too.
But there's just no way to stop Ovechkin at this point.
He seems pretty determined right now.
And if he doesn't quite make it this year, he'll come back for another year and try it next year.
I'm sure.
Yeah, Skraby?
Jets.
Yeah, I
Wait,
knew you'd go with
Jets?
Jets.
You knew what you meant.
Yeah, that was weird.
I'll take Washington because you get a goal and a half, and it could be a 1-goal game. All right, there we go. Our picks for tonight. And now, after a check of traffic, we will begin getting you ready for the 2025 Major League Baseball season. The AL East is first in our sights. The picks, the way only Gwynn and Chris can do them when we return.
Back at you again. Mike wasn't quite fired up yet. 3:20 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Skraby. We are finally reached that point in the show where we start to pretend like we know what we're talking about in terms of these baseball predictions. A little AL preview, or predictions/preview.
We usually end up just making ourselves sound silly when Skraby revisits these like 4 months into the season. And you're like, what
Turn your
were you
mic
guys
on,
thinking?
Scrape.
I just gave Tony the look. Yes, I bring these back at probably the All-Star break, I think.
Yeah, and it's like,
And we
what were
have
you
fun
guys
with it.
thinking?
Did we do that? I think we did at the end last
We did
year.
it at the end. I got really sick during the All-Star break. You were off during, Chris was basically fending for himself during the All-Star break this year. So, all right, what we're going to do today is right now, we're going to pick AL East, later AL Central, and then at the end of the show, AL West. But the first thing we're going to do, Chris, pick the AL East division winner.
Right off the top. Just got to pick who's going to win the AL East.
Yep.
Is it possible Toronto could go from last place to winning it? I don't think so, because Vladimir Guerrero scares me in terms of him actually staying the whole season. With that said, I think the Yankees are going to fall off. They have too many injuries. So I leaves it for the Orioles to return to the top spot. Even though they lost Corbin Burns, I think the Orioles still have what it takes to get it done.
All right, Tony, division winner.
The Bo Sox.
Oh, all the way. The Bo Sox.
They'll win this bad boy. Bregman, Crochet, and they added a lot of pieces to this team.
How about Walker Buehler? Aroldis Chapman, Liam Hendricks, good free agent reliever.
They have, and they still got the guys that they had last year.
Gold Glover in right field.
Yeah. What's the center?
Jaron Duran.
Duran. Yeah.
They also have Trace Thompson in the minors who had like 14 home runs in the spring.
Unbelievable spring.
Yeah.
Shout out to Trace, man. I like that. Just one of my favorites.
There you go.
But yeah, I'm taking the Bo Sox. I think they got this.
They're going to miss Nick Pivetta. That's going to hurt them. Scrape.
I'm going to pick the Red Sox as well.
What?
Yeah. The Orioles just don't seem to be able to finish.
Okay.
They can't finish the season.
Well, they can't win a playoff game, but
they can't win a playoff game.
I will say losing a guy like Corbin Burns doesn't help that scenario.
No, it doesn't. So I'm going to go with Red Sox. All right, my last place team is going to be the Rays.
Oh, is this like a snake draft right here? We went this way.
I don't know what I'm doing to you, but we will do snake draft now.
Fine.
I'm going to go with the Rays as the last place team. They're going to be playing in a minor league ballpark. They are kind of in a transition year. Seems like they had last year they were under 500 for the first time in a while.
Who's playing in the Tampa?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
They're playing at Steinbrenner Stadium or so
80
Tony,
and 82.
Yeah, so the Rays.
Yeah, first time they were under 500.
Tony,
in ages.
Your last place team.
This is tough actually, because it could be the Blue Jays, it could be the Rays. I could see a scenario where it's the Blue Jays if some of the things Chris brought up end up kind of taking hold. Vlad gets out of there, Bichette gets out of there. It get ugly real fast, but I'm gonna go with Tampa. The kind of things that they're dealing with lead you to believe that it's going to be a tough year for them. They're going to be playing in the stadium that's not theirs all year long
in the heat.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Tampa.
Oh gosh, I just remember that they're going to be playing outdoors in Tampa in the summer. Chris, who's your last place team?
That too. That does suck.
I don't see how the Yankees are supposed to do anything without Juan Soto. How about from World Series to last place?
You would love that.
This is such a bold
Wait a
prediction.
minute. I would love that.
If the Yankees
A
finish
lot
last?
of people would stand in line would love that.
Well, you're the one predicting, so that's why I said you.
Are you going with the Yankees?
I am not. I'll take Tampa Bay.
I knew it.
The Yankees aren't going to. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
They got Devin Williams, Max Fried, Cody Bellinger, Goldschmidt. They picked up a few people as well.
All right, snake draft. Chris,
what?
You're going first on the division MVP. I should probably give you the category.
Yeah, give me a category.
Chris,
I'd be happy to help.
Chris, just say something.
Say anything. Well, it makes sense to go with an Orioles since I picked them to win it, and I'll go with Gunnar. Gunnar Henderson, 8.0 WAR last year. Starting on the injured list, but he'll come back. He'll be ready soon.
Who's that?
Gunnar Henderson.
Oh,
will be my MVP pick. There's a lot of candidates in this division. I mean, Aaron Judge is probably the favorite because he's Aaron Judge. But I'll try Gunnar.
Tony, division MVP of the AL East.
Thinking it through.
I think he froze. There he is. He got out of the freeze mode.
I'm gonna tell you Devers.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say Devers because he's gonna be surrounded again.
Because he's upset.
And he's upset. He's out to prove that he wants to stay at third. I think this competition thing, or at least him perceiving it as competition, could be a good thing for him. He already is immensely talented. Now he's got guys like Bregman, Duran hitting in front and behind him, I'm assuming, or in front. I think he's going to have a big year.
My division MVP, I'm not going to copy Tony, but that's a really good one. I'm going to go with Adley Rutschman. I know I didn't pick the Orioles to win the division, but if the Orioles are going to be good this year, Adley Rutschman has to be his rookie self that he was 2 years ago. Tony, best newcomer to the division.
Walker Buehler.
Oh, okay.
I think heavy Red Sox. Yeah. You know what? I changed that. Best newcomer will be Max Fried. I think, remember, Garrett Cole is going to miss this year.
Yep.
You want to jump into Yankee lore? Come in and have one of your best years with one of their aces down.
You'll be a legend.
Legend. I'm going to go with Max Fried.
All right, Chris, best newcomer of the AL East.
Well, I think the best newcomer player is not necessarily a newcomer to the division. Anthony Santander. Now he's with the Blue Jays now, but he was with
Chris
the
always
Orioles.
has to twist it into his way.
I'm not twisting it in any
You
way.
are
I'm assuming
he's a new face.
I'm assuming he's not eligible.
We have always done this as the new player to the division, not anything else. It's always been the same.
I know, but he changed teams, so
Changed teams,
there's a bit of a.
I'm not writing that down.
All right, then write down just for all of the Padre listeners out there, since you forgot about him 100%. How about Hassan Kim, best newcomer?
Hey, all right. He's new.
Poor Hassan. He thought he was going to a dome, and now he's
going to the Heat in a minor league ballpark with a last place team.
And a bad
Have
shoulder.
fun, Hassan.
Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy. All right,
I can't go with him. He's not even going to play till July.
All right, fine. I'll put Santander on there, but it's like.
Put
Santander on there so you can complain about it when we bring it up again.
Don't worry,
in 4
I
months.
will.
You know he is.
will.
My newcomer is Garrett Crochet. I drafted him on my fantasy team.
Good
again,
one.
so. Division Cy Young has to be Garrett Crochet if I call him the newcomer. So, Chris, Division Cy Young.
Anthony Santander. Is he pitching too? Yeah, I like your Max Fried from earlier, Tony. I'll go there.
Max Fried.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Tony, Division Cy Young. Max Fried?
See.
Yeah. All right. That's it for the AL East. We will do Central next and then West at the end
we're not
of the
doing
show.
Central next. We're doing
not next, but next
hour.
Yes, next hour. 420.
Boom.
420.
420, you'll get the Central. AL Central, that is. Let's get to break. What do we got next?
Fantabulous Sports Game Show.
Yes! I came home right on time. Fantabulous Sports Game Show. Next.
Ben and Woods on.
like Tom's famous prime rib dip sandwich. That's this Saturday at Tom's Watch Bar, 8th and J. Brought to you by Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
This is when Chris takes a bite of that steak sandwich, Tony. This is what he does. After every bite.
Why wouldn't you? That's steak
This
sandwich.
is how it goes.
If it tastes that good, it makes you happy.
Chris is not buying this right now.
He took that from the broadcast of the Wyoming game, I think.
I remember.
You did say, you were like, I got this game's so crazy, I got nothing left for you.
In that context, it sounds really bad, but whatever. All right. Tony will probably be celebrating at the end of this next segment because that's what usually happens. After traffic, we play today's version of Chris's Fantabulous Sports Game Show.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Humboldt Casino. Guys, I know it's not raining, so what is up with all these crashes? One did clear up on southbound 5 near 28th Street. Now an accident on or near the Market Street off-ramp, southbound 15. Also a collision on the Palm Avenue on-ramp to southbound 805. Got a couple cars involved there over to the right shoulder. Northbound 163, just past Genesee, collision involving a couple cars. That's over the right shoulder. And northbound 125 before the King Freeway, 2-car collision over to the right shoulder. Hey, players, things are about to get real here in San Diego with the all-new Humboldt Casino Resort, where you can play your heart out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. Opening this summer, Humboldt Casino Resort, the player's place. Learn more at HumboldtCasino.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, all you beautiful people out there, it's time to play one of our favorite games of the week.
All right.
We like to call it
Ooh, I'm gonna go
Chris's Fantabulous Sports Game Show. And it starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
And welcome to the show, everybody. Your host, Chris Ello. Our contestants today are Tony Gwynn Jr. and Matthew Skraby. Don't know your middle name.
You should.
Matthew.
Matthew.
Oh, no, that's not.
That's my first name, Tony.
Sorry.
Tony thought your
middle... I got it,
Matthew! You thought your middle name was Thew. Thought the first Matthew.
I think I know your name, and the only reason I know it is because of your uncle. I think your name's Gordon.
Gordon.
Yes.
Middle name Gordon.
We've discussed this multiple times.
Anthony, are you Keith Gwynn
I'm
too?
Keith, yeah.
Just like your dad.
Yeah.
I'm named after my dad.
Sorry.
Still don't know. Thomas. Matthew Thomas Skraby.
Matthew T. Skraby. All right. Good luck today to both of you in the Fantabulous Sports Game Show. I'll give you the category in a second. You will exchange what you hope are correct answers each and every time. You will get a point for it. Or in today's case, you may get more than 1 point for a correct answer. We'll explain in a moment. If you get a question wrong or a guess wrong, then you get a strike. 3 strikes and you're out. There are 14 correct answers today. But it is worth a total of 25 points.
25?
13 is what you're looking for to win the game today. Of the 14 correct answers, 2 are worth 3 points. Several of them are worth 2 points, and the rest are worth 1 point. The category is World Series losers.
Ooh.
In this century. Let's go.
Let's go.
Teams that lost the World Series starting in the year 2000 until now. There's been 25 of them, but some teams more than once. If you guess that team with more than one loss in the World Series, you get that number of points.
Bada bing, bada boom.
All right, so everybody
Bada bing,
understands.
bada boom.
I don't know if Skraby just automatically should go first here.
By the way, my initials are MTS. Matthew Thomas Skraby, and
Thomas, that's what it was.
Someone said Skraby must feel very famous on the trolley because it's MTS.
He probably every time they go by.
Excuse me, I am MTS. This is my trolley.
That's right.
All right, Tony can go first.
Tony, you go first this time. Give me a World Series loser in this century, starting in the year 2000.
The Yankees.
2001, 2003, 2024. That is 3 points for Tony Gwynn Jr. That is correct, Tony.
Thank you.
All right. Skraby, there's one other team that has lost 3 World Series this century. If you get that, you would even things up. But, you might want to go for a team that has at least lost 2.
Yeah.
Or,
For real.
I do.
Shoot your deal.
I do.
What you got, Skraby?
Texas Rangers.
Texas Rangers lost 2. Back-to-back years, as a matter of fact.
Yep.
2010 and 2011. Tony leads 3-2. And it is
Who'd you
Tony's
say?
turn.
Rangers.
He said the Rangers. There are 12 teams left to guess.
How about the Phillies?
The Phillies. Twice they lost the World Series this century, 2009, 2022. Tony gets 2 points. He leads 5-2. There's still that team that's lost 3 times this century out there available. And there's many others with 2, but there's 11 correct answers overall. Skraby, who you got? Team that lost the World Series this century.
Let me think.
All right. Take your time.
Yeah, take your time, player.
It's your show.
3 times.
Take your time.
It's your
player.
show.
Oh.
We're just living in it.
Oh.
Those dirty Dodgers.
Dirty Dodgers have lost 2.
Oh, it wasn't the 3.
2017 and 18, back-to-back years, they lost the World Series. Tony 5, Skraby 4. 10 correct answers left. Tony
Skraby
Gwynn
just used
Jr.
the Dodgers.
He did.
Okay.
So far, the Yankees, Dodgers, Phillies, and Rangers have been taken.
Yankees, Phillies, Rangers,
Dodgers. Yes, thanks for keeping up over there, Tony. Very good.
Thank you. You can go ahead and throw the New York Mets in there as
Mets
well.
are out of the way. They lost in 20-aught in 2000. They also lost in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
2 losses for the Mets in the World Series this century. Tony 7, Skraby 4. The team with 3 is still available. There's also, I believe, 3 teams left with 2.
The team with 3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 left. Correct. That'll get you anything but a strike. Skraby, if you get the team with 3, you can tie it up. But
can you get it?
Can you get it?
I'm trying to think.
Can you get there?
Can you dig it?
What? The Tigers?
Tigers, he says. They've lost 2.
All right.
It's not bad. 2006, 2012. Tigers went down to defeat in the World Series. Tony 7, Skraby 6. 8 correct answers remaining. There's a 3-pointer, 2 2-pointers, and 5 1-pointers. No strikes yet between the 2 of you. Tony's guess. World Series losing teams this century. Tony is hard.
I got one. I just was checking out some other ones. Go ahead and put the Royals down for me.
The Royals. 1 loss in the century for the Royals. It happened in 2014. I believe, to Skraby Gigantes. All right, 8-6 for Tony. Skraby, your turn with 1, 2, 3, or 7. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or Tony went first.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, 7 right. Yeah,
Okay.
7 is left. Sorry. Go ahead, Skraby. Who do you got? Still the 3-pointers available. And 2 2s.
The only thing I can think of for 3 would be the Astros.
All right. Is that what your guess?
Yeah, Astros.
Astros, 2005, 2019, 2021.
Yes.
3 losses for the Astros
Yes.
in the World Series. Skraby takes the lead, 9-8.
Yes.
All right over there. Tony,
All right over there.
yeah, he's all excited. There are 6 correct answers left, 2 2-pointers and 4 1-pointers. Tony, World Series losers this century.
This century.
Yeah, starting in 2000 till 2025. It's good music, at least. You know, we're gonna, yeah. There you go.
Oh, the Guardians.
The Guardians.
Dang it!
That is correct. They lost as the Indians.
Yes.
at
The
time.
Cubs.
Cubs beat them. 2016. 9-9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 correct answers left. Skraby. 2 2s and 3 1s are left. Teams have lost the World Series this century. Who do you have, Skrabe?
I really hope it has been said. I don't think it's been said, but the Rays?
Rays have not been said, and they've lost 2 World Series, 2008 and 2020. Gives Skraby an 11-9 lead. Feeling you, Skrabe.
Skrabe, you're getting on my nerves, man.
Feeling you.
That 3 really helped me.
There are 4 correct answers remaining. Tony trails 11-9. No strikes yet. Tony Gwynn Jr., who is very good at rescuing victory from the jaws of defeat.
He is.
Can he do
That's
it
why I'm
again?
not celebrating.
Yeah. Rockies.
Rockies 2007. They fell.
one.
And Tony picks up a point. That Dick Monfort's hanging on to that one.
He
But
really
we
is.
went to the World Series 18 years ago. I don't know what you guys are complaining
He's hanging
about.
on strong to that one, too.
All right, 11-10. Skraby's in the lead, and it's his turn with 3 correct answers remaining.
Are they all 1-pointers now?
Nope. Two 1-pointers. There's still 1 2-pointer left. Skraby with
Still 1 2-pointer left.
Skraby with a 1-point lead, but if you get the 2-pointer, the game is over. Scrabe, you'd go to 13
You
points.
can end it, Skrabe.
You can
Oh
end it if
my
you get the 2-pointer right here.
Can you do it?
Can you dig it?
Either that, you could get a 1-pointer and clinch a tie,
Okay.
or you could get a strike. There's
Well,
a lot of
I
ways
know
this can
for
go.
sure. I don't know if this team lost 2, but I know for sure they lost 1, and that's the Diamondbacks.
2023 is correct. Diamondbacks give you 12-10. Okay, there are 3 points left, so you didn't clinch a tie. I'm sorry. I misled you.
I love how he always gives me false information.
know,
It changes
I know.
my strategy.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, sure
All right.
it does.
All right, there's 2 correct answers left. Teams that lost the World Series this century. There's a 2-pointer and a 1-pointer. Tony, you're going to need both of them to win the game.
All right,
But
well,
it is your turn.
let's start with 1. We'll go with the Giants.
Dang it.
2002. They lost to the Halos.
Dang it.
There's only 1 correct answer left, and it's
Ah.
a 2-pointer, and whoever gets it is going to win. Skraby, you get the first shot at it, though.
I can't remember.
I cannot remember for the life of me either.
Who lost?
Lost 2, even.
Twice.
Yeah. Somebody out there screaming at their radio, but you guys can't hear that. Skraby, I think you got to have a bit of a time limit. I don't want to, be outlandish here.
You keep changing the rules anyway.
Skraby, you're ridiculous.
Oh, I know. He's incredible.
Oh, man. I don't. Oh, no. This is really bad. This is really, really, really bad.
Oh, if you guess the wrong team, you just get a strike.
I
And
know,
Tony can
but
win.
I don't want that. Okay, I'm going to have to guess someone here.
All right.
The White Sox?
White Sox. Not correct.
All right.
White Sox did not lose a World Series in this
Oops, sorry.
century.
They won one, right? They
Yeah,
did win
they
in
won,
Houston.
Yeah, it's a buzzer. All right, Tony,
I'm-
you can pull it out again like you've done so many times. You can break Skraby's heart right here.
I don't recall this team losing, but I recall them being there enough.
Okay.
Cardinals.
Oh, no.
2004, 2013, the Red Sox beat them both times. That is correct. Tony Gwynn Jr. has done it again. He has saved victory from the jaws of defeat. The look on Matt Skraby's face is as depressed as I've ever seen him. He looks like Lucky's been locked out of the house or something.
Don't you ever bring up Lucky in my losing again.
Sorry about this, Skraby, but
Yes!
you must play Tony's victory music.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Tony, by the way, Tony, Skraby's having none of it right now. Like he's all in. Are you in your feelings? I don't want you to be there.
I'm
It's
really
only
mad
a game.
because you know what? I just forgot one of the oldest teams in baseball when I was going through the entire thing.
To be fair, we both did. We came to the last.
I
guess.
do it geographically. I'm like, no. Oh, there's nothing in the middle of the country except for the Royals.
I kept seeing Detroit and Texas every time I
The
thought of the
Cardinals beat
Cardinals.
both of them.
They beat both of them, and
Yeah.
I couldn't. But
They lost to
sure
Boston
did.
twice. Yeah, Boston ended its curse over the Cardinals in 2004. Beat them again in 2013.
Someone on the chat said, Skraby, just look at the chat. No, that's cheating.
Yes. Just look at the chat. Does it say in bold letters Cardinals somewhere?
No one said Cardinals,
No.
I don't think.
No.
I'm looking. Russell Wilson apparently signed with the Giants while we were playing.
The New York Football Giants?
Apparently.
All right.
1 year, $21 million.
Wow. We'd love to report on that, but we were doing much more important
Oh, there it
endeavors.
is. Russ to the Giants.
All right.
Oh, it's not 21 million. It's 10.5 guaranteed.
It's a little bit less.
Oh, it is 21 million, but guaranteed is 10.5.
Okay.
Chris is laughing over there because I just lost.
I just like to see your reaction, and so does everybody on YouTube.
This is. I always lose, but this is a bad loss.
This is a bad loss. I think so, because once again you had the guess to win it outright, and then
Who'd
you had
pick,
another
the White Sox.
Yeah, no, he had another guess before that, and he went with a 1-pointer. He couldn't think of the Cardinals.
Yeah,
if he would have got
couldn't
the
think of the
2-pointer
Cardinals.
there, he would have won.
Well, I just love it how Chris changes rules after.
What
You don't
rules did
stop.
I change?
You don't
Oh,
stop.
actually, there's more points. You can't actually clinch now.
You didn't even know what the Cardinals. That was the last one anyway, and you still didn't get it right.
I
Son.
told you there was 25 points at the beginning of the game. First to 13 wins. You got to 12. Sorry. So I misspoke. I did not change any rules. I mean, I already give Tony the answers, so what are you worried about?
I know. That's
I
the
know.
problem. That's the problem is that Tony always has the
I would
answers.
say that Tony is a fantastic actor
You must be.
because he looked like he didn't know Cardinals until it just came to him.
It did.
No wonder when I left the studio earlier, Tony goes,
Oh, come on.
send me the doc to Chris as I left the
Oh, yeah.
room.
Here's the doc.
First of all,
Here's
have
the
you
doc.
seen how he puts these things
Yeah,
together?
this is the doc. It's
Chris
on
has
a
no
little
never looked at the doc in the.
It's a
in his
scribbled-
life.
it's a-
Digitally, he's
no,
never looked
It's
at
a
it.
scribbled piece of paper. I don't email this anywhere. So
Hey,
Oh.
Clay in the South Bay says, Skraby, you should be used to losing to Tony. Doesn't make it any easier, Clay.
no,
Doesn't
no,
make it
doesn't.
any easier.
I appreciate
Especially when I was starting to feel good and I was cruising a little bit.
You should have won that game. You kind of choked it up. So,
I'm getting a bunch of texts. Braden just texted me, you fumbled the bag, bro.
I'm mad at Braden.
Why?
I'll talk to Braden.
Oh, straight up
gosh, okay.
discussion.
All right. Wow. I fumbled the bag. Though.
No,
That is
I'm
for
not
sure.
mad at
I was going to say, what?
No,
I fumbled the bag.
you did.
And he said, LOL to your experience comment. So I don't know if that means he's accepting
He
of
might
it.
be thinking about it. Might be thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's not tripping about it.
Oh, this is a good idea for the NFL since we have a minute. They're thinking of
like, let's move forward.
Well, I'm trying to get you away from this, Greg, because you're just going to get further and further into the rabbit hole. The NFL is thinking about spotting a touchback at the 35-yard line now rather than the 30. Why don't you just give them a touchdown? You know, why even bother driving down the field anymore?
Yeah, I don't like this either.
They
If it's-
want to get him closer
That's what I mean. They keep getting them closer. Everything is for
because
more points,
scoring
more
seems
points.
to be harder.
Right, nobody can
nowadays.
score. You know, about the 35-yard line, you complete one pass, you're in field goal range for any of these kickers now. It's I don't know. The NFL bugs me. Put one rule in to try and help defense just once. Make it look at
No,
least semi-fair.
They can't do that.
35-yard line. I mean, you got to be stupid now to kick it
It ends
for a
up.
touchback.
Well,
You can't get the ball
It's,
there.
it's funny. It's like you're almost enticing teams to not kick it in the end zone,
Right,
but you also don't want them
You
crashing.
don't want it. Yes, you're going. See, goes right back to what we all said at the beginning. They don't care about the health of the players. They play lip service to it.
No.
Try to put these rules in.
Hey,
We're
if
going to
you kick
change
it in
the
the end
kickoff
zone. We're
rules.
going to give it to the team at the 35.
Yeah, but last year there was not enough kickoff returns, so
No.
we have to have more collisions.
Yeah.
Next year.
Funny.
Skraby comes up short. If you want to,
game.
I think I honestly want to replay the last couple of minutes of that game on the air. That was really fun.
Why?
I just enjoyed you having two chances to win and not being able to close it.
And everybody wonders why I enjoy when Chris loses Fish vs. the Fans.
What was it that Alec Baldwin said in the famous movie?
What was it that Alec Baldwin said in that
Well, I'm going to
famous
tell you what he
movie?
said. It was ABC.
Hurry up. We got 3 seconds.
ABC. Always
If
be
he
closing.
I know.
Into the 4 o'clock hour. Halfway home. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Skraby. Skraby Chronicles follows at 6. Is Sam in there today?
No,
No,
he is not.
Okay. Skraby.
He's done with his spring training shows.
Yes. He, one of the days in Arizona, my man Sam was so beat up, and he's usually pretty well manicured. It looked like he had been taking his hands and trying to pull his hair up. Okay. That's how frazzled he was at that point. I forget what it was I think it might have been a split squad day. He had been going back and forth.
Well, he's the only guy I know that tries to go to both games in the same day. Like, Sam, you're not going to really miss anything, but he can't.
You should go home, man.
He can't stand to. He's got to be there.
Got a little Chris versus the fans coming your way. 833-288-0973. First of all, shout out to my man Braden Soprano. I haven't got a chance to see him since he was got his new show.
Yes.
But I do have a bone to pick with him.
All right. You want to pick with him on air?
I'm going to pick with him right now.
He just texted me. He's saying that he's listening right now because he's driving. So
I'm going to listen.
You're talking directly to Braden.
I'm talking directly to Bray. Bray had a nice, I call Braden Bray all the time, just so you guys know who I'm talking about. He had a pretty good rant about San Diego sports and our expectations after the Aztecs got beat up.
After they lost. Yeah. Okay.
And he's right in some respects, right? We should have high expectations. I think we do have pretty high expectations. However, it's tough for me to hear that from a guy who went to a Big 12 school where we know things are different, right? We just finished talking to Zig about the money, all that stuff. They have an event. Same thing goes for Klug when he starts popping off about state, right? He went to an SEC school.
Yeah.
So it's tough listening to it from you folks that went to those schools with deep pockets. You know what I'm saying? Because things are different there. You can have those type of unrealistic expectations at that point because you're dealing with a different piggy bank than everybody else.
Well, Braden walks into the studio with a silver spoon in his mouth already. We don't want to hear about how our spoon is dirty.
No, I'll just mess with you. Shout out to Braden, though. Congratulations on the gig. I just, as a guy who went to the school, I just know it's not as simple as we should be requiring,
Let's also mention that TCU was not in the NCAA tournament this year on the men's side.
Yeah.
So, you want to pick on the Aztecs for losing in the tournament. That's fair, but I'd rather be there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Braden's argument back, because I've argued with him before, would be, well, we were in the Big 12, a real conference.
That's exactly his argument.
That's exactly what he would say. So, Braden, before you say it, I'm already ready for you.
All right. Chris versus fans. Let's get to it.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. We have 2 prizes to give away today because we had the phone issues yesterday. So I'll read those right now. I just posted on my Twitter at Matt Skraby the clip of my soul leaving my body after Tony beat me in Fantabulous.
As soon as I said Cardinals, you were like,
yeah, the look on his face is pretty good.
It was a genuine reaction. I can tell you that. There was a lot going through my head in that moment. All right, so we're playing for today. We are playing for 2 tickets to Alanis Morissette at the Coliseum at Caesar's Palace on October 24th, 2-night hotel stay. October 23rd through the 25th at the Flamingo Hotel and Casino, and a $100 gas card. You will also win a 4-pack of tickets to the Good Guys 24th McGuire's Del Mar Nationals, going down April 4th through the 6th at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. Grab tickets at good-guys.com/DMN. That's what it says. That's a new read for me. All right. The rules. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get the question wrong and Chris gets it right, you are eliminated. If Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. If you're a first-time player.
Oh, my God. eardrums just blew out.
Please let us know, and you'll get that question for free. And then Chris versus the Fan is actually brought to you by Good Guys 24th McGuire's Del Mar Nationals.
Very nice of them.
April 4th through the 6th at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. Get details at good-guys.com. Good-guys.com. I did some work on the questions.
Oh, were they a little shabby here lately?
They were shabby. They were
Well,
shabby.
we don't do this very often, but you contestants today have to make up for the debacle that was yesterday's contestants.
Yeah, it was
a rough one, huh?
I don't say it very often because I appreciate everybody calls in and tries their hand at the game, but we had 3 questions in round 1 that were like, what color's the sky? And they missed them all. So I'm just saying.
I think one of them was, who did Aztecs women's basketball play on Saturday night?
If you listen to this show, you got to know.
No,
they had no idea. I know who they played.
Yeah.
All right, anyway.
It was like, who got DFA'd today?
I didn't get to ask you that, and maybe we'll have to do it later because we're in the middle of a game. So let's get to our first contestant.
All right, first contestant here today will be, let's go with our guy John in Temecula.
Hi,
Hello,
John.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How are you, my
Nice to
friend?
have you aboard,
I made
John.
I am doing good. Welcome home from Peoria, Tony.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. So happy to be
So
here.
I was one of the guys on hold yesterday when the system fell apart. And
You were the one.
It's my fault because I was driving home from campus, And to be fair, besides the sky is blue question, which I would have nailed as yellow, of course.
Yellow, okay.
I was in class and I didn't have my thumb on Magwath or Tyler Wade, the DFA and the going to the transfer portal. So I would have been one and done too. So I guess it was good that the computer just melted down. And
Maybe best.
That's what happens when you put some of those hot news takes like right
Very
into the
good.
thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe people ain't got a chance to digest it.
Hey, but you're right. That's an interesting viewpoint I never considered. John, I actually just made a burrito the other day with your salsa, and it was
fire,
delicious. So
John's a salsa
fantastic.
guy.
I never get tired of hearing that. Right on.
Mr. Roasty, I believe.
Yeah. All right. Let's do it, John. Here we go. First question. Who won the Fantabulous Sports Game Show today?
Well, it wasn't Skraby, that's for sure. It was Tony.
There you go.
I was hoping I would trick someone.
Is that really your question?
That was really his question. He wanted to make sure this one was got.
Yeah, I needed something to get us to the second question.
Here we go. Second question.
Oh, I feel so much better.
It's a good one right here. Which NBA player, which former NBA player has won the most NCAA March Madness titles?
This might be question number 3, actually.
Could be, but it's already asked now.
All right.
The answer is the sky is blue.
Hey, you're doing it right because you're not giving Chris anything, so stay there.
About Kareem Abdul Al-Sendor.
Close.
Wow.
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell won how many NCAA titles?
We don't have the number.
He won 2.
Wait, he with the University of San Francisco.
Yeah, but how many did Kareem win with UCLA? They won every year he was there.
Uh-oh.
Which NBA player has won the most?
Yeah, you read it right.
I think you're going to have to ask a different question.
I think I may have messed that one up.
Yeah.
I think it was which NBA player has won both NBA titles and NCAA titles.
That's still
and that would be Bill Russell. Well, no, because Bill Russell had 11 titles when he was with the Celtics.
Okay.
Well, let's ask a different question.
No, we're going to question number 3.
Oh, he's just okay.
He advances.
Good for you, John.
There we go, John.
All right.
All right.
John likes how this is turning out.
Yeah, okay, this is a good one right here. Which military college has never made the NCAA tournament?
Ooh, boy.
Navy.
Navy.
Going Navy.
Stay there.
Yeah, bad luck, John. David Robinson went to Navy. And they had one
I forgot
run in
about
the
that.
NCAA tournament. The answer is Army. Bobby Knight was the head coach one year. They qualified and turned it down so that they could go to the NIT because they thought that was a better tournament back in the day. Army. Okay. Who is it?
It's Air Force.
According to Skraby, it's Air Force.
And the reason I knew that story about Army,
Army
was in, but they turned it down.
Mm-hmm.
Air Force has never been invited to the tournament.
You sure?
Uh-oh.
All right. Give it a John.
This was from you sure? You sure?
You always know when Skraby's starting to sweat a little bit.
I just 2004 they lost in the first round to North Carolina.
Who did? Air Force?
They lost to Illinois.
Who? Air Force?
Yeah. They've been in 4 NCAA tournaments.
What?
Era of misinformation rears its ugly head again.
Hold
Don't
on.
hold on. I mean, it's right here. I knew they made it because they had a couple of really good years where they were right there with the Aztecs for the conference title.
I didn't even make this question up. I got it off of a good question website about March Madness.
Not good enough.
Army's the
Wow,
answer.
there's 4, yeah.
Yes, I know. Very
Dang.
good, Skraby. What do you want to do with our? What do you want to do? You know what? Yesterday's round of Chris vs. the Fans is looking a whole lot better now. When the phones didn't work at all.
I don't know that we've ever had 2 questions best up in the same round. Usually it's 1.
John, what do you think we should do here?
Oh man, you're gonna put it in my lap?
Yeah,
we're gonna give John the prize.
I think whatever you say, John's gonna go. So you might as well give yourself
John
the prize.
But yeah, I don't know.
It's not going to change on the screen,
It's
bro.
so egregious and surprising to me that I'm not even going to make excuses about it.
John, congratulations, man. Hang on the line. Skraby is going to get himself together and then take care of you on the other side. Meanwhile,
Tony, we better take over the show for a little while because he's going to be.
I'm going to figure out
need a moment.
I'm going to figure out where I got this question from because I didn't make it up.
Scrape, take your time.
No,
we got you, man. Me and Chris got you for at least the next 30 if you need us. All right, let's get the break. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
Oh gosh, and I didn't even delete the beds. Oh, here we go. I'm all flustered now. I'm sweating.
Scrambling, boy.
My face is probably super red. Oh my goodness.
From the
I'm just going without headsets on this round.
I was going to see how long it was going to take you.
It's unbelievable how much spaghetti my headphones are. Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr.
You can't
Matt
hear anything
Skraby.
right now.
I can't hear anything, but I'm going to give it a shot. 4:20 is the time. There we go. God.
I looked up the
Happens
question.
every time. Yes, Skraby has an excuse.
I found the question from the website.
Right.
Word.
The question was the exact same question. So the website is bad. I have to delete all the questions from the website.
New website.
Well, we found out a lot of stuff on the show today. We found out that Air Force was not in the NCAA tournament. Found out the Cardinals didn't lose any World Series this century.
Undefeated.
And we found out that nobody will be yelling peanuts walking down the aisle.
I thought we were putting that in the back. I thought we were moving on from that.
We are. Sorry.
Now we are.
I'm just giving a recap of the day's activities.
Well, now I have to. I mean, I already planned on telling the Scrabinators, so I call it the. You know how they have the walk of shame? I call it the talk of shame.
Talk of shame. Yeah.
Well, you're doing a lot of that today. For sure.
How does this stuff happen? I wake up in the morning, I have a good outlook on life, and then this happens.
Gotta stay off those websites, my man.
I mean,
you aren't lying. Tony.
Can you give us the name of the faulty website so people can?
I don't even want to tell people because it's such
Is it so silly that you don't want to share?
I think it's a clickbait article
about the March Madness
tournament.
He basically is telling us that he had no business clicking on this.
Yeah. All right, I'll tell everybody.
What's the name of it?
I Googled 2025 March Madness trivia questions, and parade.com came up first.
Parade.com.
45 March Madness trivia questions. And I started looking through. I was like, okay, I haven't asked some of these. I'm going to go with it. And then I took a wrong answer. So.
Parade.com. All right.
It's a clickbait article.
Clearly.
That's all right. When you want information on parades, you click on something and it says March Madness questions. So you go with it.
Well, Chris, this is you need to get people to your website. You need an article that has the buzzwords in there. So people are searching March Madness. Apparently, they were at the top.
It was hook, line, and sink.
Yeah.
And then they set the hook on you, right? As soon as you clicked on it.
I was like got me.
Got you. No question.
I hate that I'm such an easy person to fool.
You're a mark.
You're a mark. Yes, you'd be an easy mark.
I hate you guys. You know, when I worked for Bank of America, we had a long meeting about never ever.
Did anybody ever try the give me change thing with a $20 bill with you?
No, they did.
Chris,
I did get $3,000.
He was definitely the teller that they came in, and when they were scoping the place out, they're like,
we're going to that
guy right
I was
there.
very serious.
That guy right there.
I was very serious. But
you might have been serious, but they knew they could
they
get
were
a
still
mark.
going to your window.
Bank of America taught me that people will approach you and ask you for account information. Never talk to those people. So I wasn't an easy mark.
I mean, if a rando came up to you and asked for account information, I hope that you're not.
And they were like, "Hey,
I'll
give you 10 grand for this information."
Right? Oh, that was the first thing they went over, huh? Was it? Hey, people are going to come in here and ask for account information.
Yep.
Don't give it to them.
I actually got in trouble once when I worked at the bank for looking up a celebrity, and it was totally wrong on my part. Totally wrong.
Looking up their account number?
Just I searched their name in the account system. And
Skraby, what is wrong with you?
I was like 19.
You'd be better off.
You would
be better. You'd be better off admitting that you wore your underwear inside out. Frankly,
this guy is just searching up people's accounts.
It only happened that one time because I got caught.
How did you get caught?
The account was flagged, and anybody taking a look at it gets logged, and so I got called into the boss's office like 3 days later.
What did that come? I'm sorry, I gotta ask, but nobody's supposed to be doing this preview. What did that conversation? How did it go?
Well, why were you looking up Paris Hilton? Is that who it was?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Oh my goodness.
I can neither confirm. That's really funny, Chris, that you just yelled out that name out of all names.
No,
but I walked in, I got called into the office, and I sat down, and all my boss, I loved her. She was great. Her name was Sharon. Amazing boss. She just slid the piece of paper in front of me.
You knew.
Said, "Did you visit this account?" And I looked. Yeah. She was like, "We're gonna have to write you up for this, and if you do it again, we're gonna have to fire you." And I said, "I'll never do it again." And I got out of there as soon as possible. I took everything, but it was not good. Not good.
Just curiosity, huh? He's like, I wonder how much they have in their account.
Yeah. I mean, before I got caught, I did look up athletes. And,
oh my God! I'm so glad you're sitting in this seat now.
Yes, I'm so happy you're not doing any job that can be dangerous to people's futures.
This was in the first year that I was there. I learned my lesson thoroughly.
Chris, as I said, as soon as they walked in, they was like,
yeah.
That's our guy right there.
That's our window.
We're gonna take him down.
Yep.
Just lucky I didn't get caught for like I can't even say. I'll tell you guys off break whose account I saw and how much money they had sitting in their checking account.
And this was how long ago, too, by the way?
2009, 10. Way before I became a good person.
Didn't Bank America end up getting in trouble? Or was that it was one of those banks got in trouble?
All of them get in trouble for selling information. But
I heard folks like you.
I wasn't selling any information. I was just wanting to see what was going on.
Curious.
I didn't check their account activity, which I could have. Been like, oh, they bought this here. I'm gonna go up there. You know, I'm not that creepy.
Well, that's stock.
Oh yeah, you're not that bad.
I'm not that creepy.
This is amazing, by the way. We're supposed to be doing.
How are we supposed to do baseball picks under these circumstances?
We can't anymore. I think we gotta push it. You guys never did it. Well, I mean,
no, Skraby, we didn't.
Really? Okay. Like you work at a bank, you're looking at people's account information.
That's
unbelievable.
It only happened for a little bit, and then I got
only for a little bit.
I can't stop laughing at this because it is quite hilarious, Skraby.
But you were saying that I may have gotten robbed or whatever. I actually did get robbed when I worked in San Francisco, and they're called quick change artists.
How long did you work in the banking industry?
8 years. I was a teller supervisor when I finished. I was also the merchant teller, which took in around $150,000 in cash a day. Guess what? Always balanced at the end of the day.
Yeah, I bet.
But there was a guy who walked in. He had about $5,000 in hundreds, and he handed it to me. He said, "Can I get 50s for these?" And I said, you know, it's pretty annoying that he wants
$5,000 in
hundreds, and he wanted $5,000 in 50s. He just wanted 50s instead of hundreds. So I had to go get it from the vault. I come back. I'm starting to count it out, and then he's like starting to ask me questions as I'm counting it out.
He's trying to
what did
I tell you, Chris? This is what I'm talking about.
That window right there.
Hey, this guy was so good that no one saw it coming. But so when I started getting mad at him because I counted out the 50s, he goes, "What are you doing?" I asked for 20s. And I'm like, what? You did not ask for 20s. You asked for 50s, bro. Yeah. I had to go to the vault to get those 50s. And as I was getting all mad and talking to my boss, he took the cash off the counter and put it into this folder that he had on the thing that
the original 5,000 in hundreds.
Yeah, well, he kept going like that, and then I was so mad, I just grabbed it and I threw it in my drawer. And then he was like, "You know what? I'm out of here." And he walked out. And then at the end of the day, $3,000.
He got an extra 3 on you.
$3,000. Yeah, he got $3,000.
The thing about criminals like that, they can sniff out a mark really easy.
I'm not a mark.
You are 1,000%.
I was actually the bank's
dog. They got you for 3 extra.
And that's the only time in my 8 years that I ever had anything happen like that.
I'm sure there are people who've been there 8 years that never had 0 taken.
Skraby, I got a 20 here. Can I get 5 5s, please?
I hate you guys.
Let's get to
that was one of the worst moments of my life. But you know what? It taught me a lot. Never trust anyone ever again.
You know what? You definitely have learned because you don't trust very many people.
I don't trust anyone anymore.
Was it your 8 years in the banking industry?
You know how many times I had a mom tell me that she brought in her kids with her and said, "Oh, I need you to reverse those $200 in overdraft fees." And the sucker that I did. And then I started seeing through that plan. And I started going, "Wow, no, I'm not."
Wait a minute. This went on for 9 years that you were just being taken advantage of, basically.
Me?
Boy, sounds like it.
I have the ability to reverse fees. When a mom comes up and says, "I can't feed my kids if you don't reverse one of these fees," it pulls on my heartstrings a little bit.
Mark.
And then I got in trouble and I got my fee reversal taken away.
Mark Skraby.
I'm not a Mark. And there's a guy in the chat.
You're definitely a Mark.
There's a guy in the chat who leaves the money unattended. Hey, Dude, it wasn't unattended. I was still there. I just literally turned my head for 5 seconds.
Even worse, by the way, it wasn't attended.
This guy's
I was standing right there.
He's a professional. He knows what he's doing.
Exactly.
They watched the video and they didn't even see the money going into his folder.
We're just gonna call you Mark moving forward. Mark Skraby.
I don't want to be Mark Skraby. I'm more Mar Skraby.
Let's get
I don't know, Mark T. Skraby. Yeah, that's good. Thomas.
Oh man.
I don't know how that segment became.
Yeah.
You took us there, bro.
That's way better than picking the Royals first in the AL Central. I'll tell you that.
Oh, interesting. Royals, huh?
I was going to go Royals, but now I have to rethink it. All right, baseball picks at some point. We got a big 5 before that. So, stick around. We'll figure it out as Gwynn and Chris is having a crazy day on 97.3 The Fan.
Gwynn and Chris on The Fan.
All right, let's see if we can get back on the rails here.
We opened the show by talking about laundry. Just we've actually come a long way since then. Yeah.
Oh, we were talking about laundry. We got into the Bank Teller Chronicles here last segment, which was outstanding, by the way.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the information we got in between the break was pretty big time stuff. Skraby really covered there.
Oh, Skraby, you are truly one of a kind, my guy.
Your mic, one more time. I've only been in this job for 8 years now. I told the guys in the break, why don't you stop me from doing that? Because then I get going and then I start telling everything, and then I feel bad that I've said everything, and then I take it home with me.
Well, it's good radio. Well, so we're not going to stop you.
Everything you just said there is good, except for stop taking it home with you. Just leave it here and go home.
Right. What's done is done. Yeah. It's out there now.
Yeah.
Skraby was a mark
I was not a mark. That's the one thing I don't like.
Clearly you were. The mom came to you. My guy with the trick hands came to you. I think that everything kept finding you, my friend.
I told you in the break that I was responsible for finding a bank robber.
8 years in, you finally started to figure out what you needed to not do in order to be a mark. It's great. Good progress, we like to call it. All right.
I would love to see both of you being a teller.
No. I think we
tellers out there feeling my pain.
Listen, I'm sure there are a few, but none that were, as egregious as you were at times as a teller. All right, we got a big 5 coming your way. Before we do so, let's check a little traffic.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Hamul Casino. Seeing plenty of activity on our roads this afternoon. Crash on southbound 5 Civic Center in the downtown area. It's been cleared over to the right shoulder. Also, South 163 backs up from the 805 all the way down to just past the 8. There's the culprit. Vehicle fire in middle lanes. Also going to find on southbound 15 before the 8. Collision involving a couple vehicles there over the right shoulder. Crash blocking the slow lane eastbound 8 before Spring Street. Also traveling on the southbound 15 in the North County, just past B Rancho Parkway. Accident partially in the slow lane. Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, where you can play your heart out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. Opening this summer, Hamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Learn more at hamulcasino.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big 5 starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. Putting the finishing touches on this hour, 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by the Central Valley Reptile Expo. Don't miss the Reptile Expo March 29th and 30th at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. Shop snakes, lizards, frogs, turtles, and spiders from top local breeders. Enjoy a live animal show, meet an alligator, and a sloth. Get tickets at centralvalleyreptileexpo.com.
You ever met a sloth before? It's like meeting a stuffed animal. It doesn't move. It just sits there. That's what sloth means.
On Zootopia, I've met the sloth before.
Yes, the DMV sloth.
Perfect job for
hilarious.
Sloth, right?
Sloths are unfairly maligned. I think they're cute, and people think
it's one of the 7 deadly sins. Sloth.
It sure is. Sure is. Poor guy just can't get a name that's a good name. Just slothing.
Yeah.
But you can also meet an alligator. So Central Valley Reptile Expo.
I'm good on meeting alligators.
Yeah, me too. Or snakes. Yeah. Lizards.
I used to love snakes.
Really?
When I was like a young teenager.
I like to read about snakes when I was little.
Now
I
had
no desire to ever see one in person.
Now I just want to see them from a distance.
Yes, way off.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, even through the glass at the zoo is a little close for me, honestly.
There was a next door message that went around in our neighborhood about a dog that got bit by a rattlesnake. It's rattlesnake season, everybody. So got to be careful about that.
Number 5.
Especially when you let your dog run around without a leash.
I don't want to take it in another direction again, but I will. You know how
we ain't even got to question 5 yet.
No, we're not going to tell the story. We're going to keep moving. In a bit of a surprise move, the Los Angeles Angels are breaking camp with right-handed pitcher Ryan Johnson. There are 2 major items of note here. First, he hasn't played a single game in the minor leagues. Second, he was taken 74th overall in the draft last summer, which was the pick the Angels received as compensation for losing Shohei Ohtani in free agency. Interestingly enough, everybody, he struck out Ohtani this spring. So, Angels won this whole thing.
No question.
Tony, do you think anyone is ready for the big leagues without minor league games?
He's not the first guy to do this. There was a gentleman, I can't remember his first name. His last name was Wagner. Pitched for Houston Cougars. Went straight. I think he played like a day or two. I think he might have went straight to the big leagues. Slider monster. It's all he threw. So this isn't the first time it's happened, and it typically does happen with pitchers. They get there faster for whatever reason. This young man's going to be used out of the bullpen, I believe, to start the season. Listen, there are occasions where a guy, if in the right role, can get to the big leagues that fast. I think they generally are pitchers, though. You just don't see it happen at all with position players. So I'm not knocking it.
I know one of the guys who did it way back when was a position player, Dave Winfield. I do not think played in the minor leagues.
Those are like
not many.
Yeah, they're very rare. So I think it can happen, to answer your question. There are guys who are ready.
Chris, do you think anyone's ready without minor league games?
Yeah, I mean, this guy, I'm looking at his stats. Last year played for Dallas Baptist. He was the Conference USA Player of the Year. 151 strikeouts, 14 walks. So 6'6". Sounds like he's physically ready. So,
he's a big one.
Yeah, let's see what he can do. I mean, plus it's the Angels. Where are they going this year? What are they,
I do find it funny that this happens to be the dude that they got the pick from Ohtani.
Yeah, good for them.
I hope it works out.
Yeah, we'll see.
The last minor leaguer skipped entirely was actually Garrett Crochet.
There's another
He
one.
joined the White Sox because of the COVID cancellation, but he did not go to the minors.
I did not know that.
There you go.
Good little tidbit.
Number 4.
I'm going to find that guy's name, too. Just give me a second.
Okay. The Arizona Diamondbacks paid Corbin Burns $210 million this offseason, and he was up for the opening day starter job, but instead they went with Zach Gallen, and they put Corbin Burns 5th in the rotation. Why, you say? Because Corbin Burns is very specific about his routine. Burns told the Diamondbacks manager, Torey Lovullo, that his preference would be to throw once more during the spring, which he will do in a camp game tomorrow. Then the right-hander will start the 5th game of the season on just one extra day of rest. Torey Lovullo said, quote, "That was probably a technical error on my part. I'll take the responsibility for that. Corbin is a very routine-oriented player, and I had yet to understand that until recently. He's got a process, and I respect that, and I blame myself for not getting to know him. Corbin is that important to me and this organization that I wanted to listen to him. He made it loud and clear. Yeah, he made it loud and clear that through that partnership, this is what was most important to him." End quote. Chris, fans are calling Corbin Burns a diva now. Is he a diva?
No. I think routine is important to a lot of guys, and obviously it is to him. Doesn't sound like he. I mean, I think if Torey Lovullo said you're pitching game 2, then Corbin Burns would do it. Corbin Burns just saying, hey, I prefer to be on my routine. And Torey Lovullo's smart enough to realize that this guy's so good, let's keep him on his routine. So I'm not ready to put him in diva status yet.
All right, Tony, diva status?
My guy's name was Ryan Wagner, by the way,
Wagner,
for the Cincinnati Reds.
All
right. Is he a diva? No. Honestly, I actually believe Torey that he probably didn't understand Corbin's routine yet and just kind of had him penciled in doing it the way that he normally does until he was informed, hey, well, no, I need another day in Arizona or another start before I'm ready. Ultimately, being rewarded with the opening day start is more of a symbol than it is anything else, because after that week, things get shuffled up all the time, and they can find a way to manipulate the schedule where he ends up being the number 1 guy after the first go round.
And Zach Gallen isn't a bad fallback option.
No, not at all.
chat, I wasn't the one with this opinion. Okay, they're telling me to calm down.
About what? Him being a diva. It did sound like a expression that came from Skraby.
At first, I did think diva. I mean, you're joining a new team. You're making $210 million, and you can't start game 2 because you need an extra day.
The people on the chat have been here quite a bit. They were actually listeners before they were chat folks.
Yeah, that's true.
And so they know your tendencies pretty well, my guy.
Too transparent.
Number 3.
The Marlins have changed the way their starters prepare between outings by having them throw a version of live batting practice on the field rather than go through the traditional bullpen day. The team calls these, quote, live pitch design sessions, and began implementing them in the second half last season on the lowest level of their minors, the Dominican Summer League and the Complex League. The Marlins intend to do this on every level this year. In fact, this is how they've been preparing starters all spring training with the intention of carrying it through to the regular season. It's not mandatory, but so far Sandy Alcantara and other starters have adhered to the policy. The Marlins feel that doing it this way will heighten pitcher focus and preparation better than via more relaxed bullpen sessions, potentially improving pitcher command and also give hitters, usually reserves who do not play hitters, okay, I see where they're going with this. Sorry about that. And also give hitters, usually reserves who do not play much, more live at-bats in an actual game environment. So, Tony, do you think this is a good idea?
I think when you're not spending any money on actual talent, you got to start trying to reinvent the wheel somewhere else. And so, hey,
try to get people to think that we're trying.
This is another tactic of it. I would be interested. I love that the wording in there. The starters have adhered to the responsibility of doing it this way. Let's see what the results were. Remember, Sandy Alcantara didn't pitch in the second half of last season. He was hurt.
He missed the whole year.
So I wonder if he gets on board and he's loving it and he's touting it, I'll then buy in. Everybody else is just kind of like they're there right now.
They don't really have a choice.
I don't think they have a choice.
No, they're not Corbin Burns. They're
This
not
is, by the way, this is the same organization that I believe got in trouble recently for they were like trying to like get rid of their minors. They were trying to do something quite sneaky on the backside.
Yeah.
So everything they do, my antennas, they go up because it just feels like they're trying to circumvent something else.
Chris?
Whatever the Marlins are doing, it's not working. And here's the
just started.
I'm about to say, what were the numbers in the second half of the season?
They're first of all, they're terrible. Second of all, Edward Cabrera, pitcher, DL. Ryan Weathers, former Padre, DL. Yeah. Yuri Perez, DL. Braxton Garrett, DL.
IL.
Okay. Or IL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's 4 starters that are on the IL. Alcantara's coming off missing the whole year.
Right.
Hey, whatever they're doing is not working.
Great point.
Stop it.
Maybe you should just do the relaxed bullpens.
Yeah.
Like everybody else.
I mean, they got the whole thing. Everybody's
No.
And by
they're
the way,
live pitch design sessions.
And by the way, bullpens are not easygoing sessions, by the way. At least not the ones I watched the Padres
No, everybody puts a lot into those.
That's a lot of good work there. So I don't know. I'm not buying it.
All right. Chris on the chat says, how about pitcher David Clyde back in the day, number 1 overall, straight out of high school, straight to the Texas Rangers starting rotation?
I'm glad somebody brought that up. He did not fare well, but that is correct. David Clyde, left-hander.
So that kind of defeats the purpose of coming.
No, I mean he did it.
He did it. He just didn't have a lot of success.
I would imagine a dude going straight from high school is going.
He was 18 years old, and they put him right in there.
Going to struggle immensely.
Number 2.
Alex Verdugo. Now, I read this article this morning, and I'm very curious to see what you guys think about it. But the former free agents market, was a surprise to his former Yankee teammates. He's now with the Braves. But it wasn't a shock to the Boston Globe's MLB columnist Peter Abraham, who wrote on Saturday, Red Sox manager Alex Cora had it right in 2023 when he benched Verdugo after he reported late to a game despite previous warnings about tardiness. Verdugo's off-the-field issues also concerned the Yankees, who made no effort to retain him. The character questions go back to Verdugo's time as a minor leaguer with the Dodgers when he attended a gathering that led to a teammate being investigated for sexual assault. No charges were filed, but some teams have been wary of Verdugo since. The lack of interest in the offseason should be a wake-up call, end quote. Chris, how do we digest stories like this?
Well, it's a tough one because, I mean, who wrote all this stuff about him?
Boston Globe, Peter Abraham.
Boston Globe's pretty legit. But God, it's tough when they say things like this. And now the guy's
there's no proof to it.
Well, I mean, he must have a source somewhere. He's not just making it up.
No.
He signed a big league deal here recently.
Well,
yeah, he signed with the Braves. So this is why it's kind of coming up as to why he was on the market.
These are tough
for so
ones
long.
for somebody like Alex Verdugo, because you know what, true or not, now he's associated with being a lazy guy that, gets into, problems. And I never heard that earlier.
Ever.
So, I'm going to try to take it with a grain of salt, but I don't think a lot of people will.
Yeah.
They usually, something like this comes out and you go, oh, yeah, Alex Verdugo, he's a slacker. Look, the Yankees didn't re-sign him, so nobody else wanted him. I don't know. Everybody seemed to want him a few years ago. He started with did he come up with Dodgers first or?
Came with the Dodgers first.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been to 3 or 4 different places.
Boston, Yankees, now Braves, so 4.
So somebody wanted the guy.
For $1.5 million, they did. Tony, how should we digest these stories?
With a grain of salt. While the former free agent's quiet market was a surprise to former Yankee teammates, it wasn't a shock to Boston Globe's MLB columnist Peter Abrams. This is his opinion.
Yeah.
And so you got to be leery about these articles that come out. It's 2025. He's talking about his experience in 2023. And if I recall, at different points, Red Sox folks were loving on Alex Verdugo at certain points. So,
don't recall hearing any of this.
Didn't hear any of this.
Really, he's not even quoting a source then. He's just putting this in the story straight out.
To be fair, I went to the story and clipped it so I could read it. But
here's the other thing. Him being at a gathering, who knows what that is? What is that, a party?
A party
where
you're just at someone's house and this
right.
happens,
and someone else gets in trouble for sexual assault. Now you're
associated with that.
I think you should view this with a grain of salt.
Okay, I think that's the correct one.
Number 1.
There are a lot of other players actually doing things and have done things.
Yeah,
that you could actually hold on to. These are
rumors,
right?
All right.
And then, by the way, if you show up late, every manager is going to bench you. Doesn't matter who you are at that point.
I like how he says he reported late despite previous warnings about tardiness. I think that's funny. For
hilarious. Doesn't sound like this guy is quoting a source, which is kind of a red flag.
It is a red flag.
But I also used to think the Boston Globe would require some sort of proof before you put somebody like that down or make those claims.
I guess he's not a Red Sox player anymore, so it doesn't matter.
There you go.
Real quick, hometown pro golfer Xander Schauffele has had a pretty good streak going right now, and anytime you're mentioned with Tiger Woods, you're doing elite stuff. He's made the cut 60 consecutive times, which is the most since Tiger Woods did it. He's won 2 majors, had a high finish of top 3 in all majors, won PGA Tour of the Rookie in 2016, and is currently number 3 in the world. He's also been in the top 30 in the world since 2017. So, Chris, does he have a chance at the Mount Rushmore of San Diego with a couple more majors?
A chance. He's got a chance because he's a young golfer.
He's got a lot
he could win 4 or 5 majors or something before it's done. Xander Schauffele's doing all right. He's got 82 to go to catch Tiger, by the way, in terms of making cuts.
That's so many.
Tiger did 142, but he's not there. Mount Rushmore's, Tony Gwynn Sr., Junior Seau stuff. But Xander's certainly got a chance.
Tony?
Yeah, he's got a chance. Of course, because
duh.
Me and him are boys, so.
Oh, that's true. I'm sorry. Recap next.
Baseball is back.
And it's happy hour time. Although I kind of think this whole show has been a happy hour. Extended version.
It has.
Yeah. 5 o'clock, Gwynn and Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby today. Skraby boots us out of here at 6 o'clock, and then he continues on for an hour with the Skraby Chronicles. We will still get to previewing the AL Central and the AL West. We did the East earlier in the program. I promise we'll get to those predictions this hour, unless Skraby wants to tell more stories about when he worked in a bank.
I have crazier stories when I worked as a bagger of bonds.
If you miss the bank stories at 4:15, I highly recommend you go back and find it on the YouTube. Search that at 4:15.
Just go in knowing that Skraby is a mark. That's what you should know that.
See, that's not what I wanted this story to have, like, the result be.
Well,
I'm sorry. That is what you gave us.
A couple of football notes we're passing along to you.
I got to read something first. We got to get into this because, Tony, we have a happy hour sponsor now.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's now time for happy hour, brought to you by GL Pools, the company trusted by thousands of San Diegos to keep their pools sparkling, swim ready, and stress-free. Call now and say radio for a free month of service. Visit glpools.com. Thank you, GL Pools.
Shout out to GL
Pools. Sponsoring
Pools.
the happy hour.
Yeah.
Just in the nick of time for a little summer coming up. Things are warming up.
You are a pool guy,
out.
Chris.
Love to do my laps, Scrabe. You got that right. Here we go with a couple of NFL notes. They're big ones. Russell Wilson signing with the Gigantes today.
Gigantes.
I don't know if the Giants paid attention to what Wilson did the last 7 games of the season when he could barely complete a pass. But the Giants.
Do you know who they had?
I was about to say,
I don't. Well, right before this, they had Tommy DeVito.
And Tommy DeVito.
I think they're considering this
you think
upgrade.
this is an upgrade
For sure.
In the meantime, I guess Aaron Rodgers is just going to just hold the Steelers hostage for the rest of time.
Did you guys hear
what is going on now with him?
Did you guys hear Cam Hayward speak on this?
Yes, he wasn't pleased.
Yeah, I like that.
I did too.
Like, come on in here. You either come on or don't. One of the two.
But that's the way I feel Mike Tomlin would be. So I'm just surprised that Mike Tomlin is in this position, letting a quarterback control their whole program.
Listen, Mike Tomlin's no fool. He knows that, he's only going to be able to get into the first round so many times before everybody turns on him. And so I think the organization knows that Tomlin's going to keep that team good enough where they're never going to get in position to pick high enough to take a quarterback. So you're in that position, you're stuck kind of seeing what's out there on the free agent market. Aaron Rodgers, I think
you still thinks he's got a shot.
I still think he can. I think it would be the perfect situation for him.
All right.
He's got 2 very volatile receivers, though.
Not only that,
DK Metcalf and George Pickens.
Not only, and he's never really had volatile.
No, they
receivers,
always fall in line for
right?
him, which they kind of should. But I can't see George Pickens really caring at some point in the season and just yelling at Aaron Rodgers.
I think he should be careful because DK might choke slam him.
That is also true.
They're the same size, height-wise, maybe, but
don't tell me that the Steelers, the one last franchise I felt like I could count on, is going to become a circus next year.
They've been a circus before now. Antonio Brown was once one of their wide receivers, and he was a circus every week.
All right. The other NFL note today, the New England Patriots have themselves an actual NFL player now on the roster. They have signed 4-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Stephon Diggs. $69 million. Oh, and by the way, $26 million guaranteed. Man, that's something to work toward.
Mike Vrabel really going to
$26 million guaranteed. I think Stephon Diggs is set.
I mean, yeah, 26 is about a quarter of it, or no, a third of it guaranteed. So
nicely done, Stephon.
He's recovering from knee.
Yeah, he tore his ACL last year.
Stephon is talk about a low maintenance wide receiver. Stephon Diggs comes right to mind.
Fits right in there.
Sure. Padres off today, off tomorrow. Obviously, opening day Thursday. If you hadn't heard, the 4-5 starters have been basically decided. Stephen Kolek has been sent back to the minor leagues. So it will be Randy Vasquez. It will be Kyle Hart, the 4-5 starters for the Padres. To start the season, you got, of course, Cease, King, and King on opening day. Cease, and then Nick Pivetta, the other one. Darvish Is there an official time how long he has to be out, Tony? Till the end of April, is it already, or
how long he has to? I mean, he goes on the IL to start the season. I think it's 15 for pitchers. So
okay, so middle of April. I guess at the soonest for Darvish.
I think everybody has to remember, Darv's age, his history. They're not going to be in a rush to like get him back, because the goal for Darv is to get him through all of the season, not just the first couple of months and then have him break down. So I don't think they're going to rush this. I think they're going to make sure he's feeling perfectly fine before he comes back.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tony. Couple of other quick notes. Stanford fired their football coach today. Troy Taylor had already been in trouble because a bunch of female staffers had come out and said that he had treated them poorly, inappropriately, etc. I guess Stanford has decided they don't even want to deal with it. So out goes Troy Taylor. Good news for you, Coach Taylor. You don't have to fly on a charter to North Carolina 6 times next year. So that's good.
Chris,
you'll never get over it.
No,
I'll never get over it until Stanford and Cal come back to the West Coast.
Go ahead and jump on back into that pack.
Yes, we'll take you. One baseball note, I think, of local interest to people: the former number 1 overall pick in the Major League Baseball draft, a San Diegan from Skraby's high school, Mickey Moniak, released by the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim today.
Third most famous Maverick.
Third most favorite Maverick. You go.
I don't even want to ask who did. I know who.
Well, I think Matt Skraby's one.
No.
Kevin O'Connell 2.
Yeah,
and
Kevin O'Connell's
Mickey
number 1.
3.
He did just win NFL Coach
No,
of the
Chase
Year.
is the second, right?
You got Chase Budinger.
Oh, Chase Budinger probably he's probably number 4.
Who's
maybe
2?
he's tied for me.
You said no earlier.
In San Diego, who do you think is more famous, Mickey Moniak or Matt Skraby?
Skraby, you've moved out of the top 10 a long time ago.
I'm trying to think of who else I went to school with. I'm sure there's plenty of people that did more than I did. All right.
I mean, considering your tales of the bank teller, I'm quite sure that there are some people who did more than you have.
I hate
you, Mark.
I'm not a Mark. I had a job for 8 years because I was also the branch counterfeit detector. I had to go to.
Why are they giving you such important
because
jobs?
I was good at it.
Is that a job? BCD
Yes.
branch
counterfeit detector. I had to go to some training, and they had us go through a bunch of money, and I had to pick out all the counterfeit bills, and I knew which ones were counterfeit.
Matt Skraby, branch counterfeit detector. Sounds like a Saturday Night Live skit. Honestly,
They just made an area for you to work.
You know
in.
what the worst part? I know I'm taking us off topic so much.
I just
today.
want, for the record, it has been all Skraby today, taking us off the rails. Just
You know
so
what happens when you turn in a counterfeit bill? Even if you don't know you had a counterfeit bill, you just lose it. So this one person got paid one time $1,000 for something.
And all counterfeit?
All counterfeit.
Oh.
And I go, these are counterfeit. And they're like, oh, okay, well, can I have them back? No, I have to send them in.
Sorry, buddy.
So the person who brings in the counterfeit bill loses it.
Oh,
that's brutal. So always make sure your
$1,000.
money's real.
Yeah, that's definitely brutal.
Make sure your cash is real, everybody.
So we got to all walk around one of those markers now and just like check.
No,
every
you can
bill?
tell. You can tell. You can tell by the feel. The
Oh,
feel is it.
really?
Yes.
Sorry, we can tell by the
because
feel.
you can't buy the paper that they make the money on. So when you're trying to,
So just the
counterfeit-
average Joe can tell the difference.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
I don't either.
I wish I could bring in some counterfeit money because you guys would know that the feeling is what it is. It does not feel
when
like
you
money.
have the other
It
bill
feels
next
like
to
paper.
you can tell, right?
Oh, yeah, and I always
if
had
you're just
another
walking
bill.
through the normal day and a 7-Eleven clerk hands you some fake money, you wouldn't know. You think you're just getting it out.
Do you take your fingers and thumbs and rub it over the money every time you receive a bill from somebody?
Oh
You
my
don't.
gosh, I'm gonna.
You
pull
don't.
20 out of my wallet.
You don't.
Hold on. I
Off
just
the
have
rails
receipts
again.
falling everywhere out of my wallet. See this $20 bill right here. There's a couple things you could do. You put it up in the air. You see his watermark. You see the line through it.
Okay.
The feeling of it also. If you feel real paper, it feels completely different.
I
from
mean, I'm
this.
sure they make paper that is close to that.
Dave says I agree with Skraby.
All right. You and Dave.
Chris goes.
Does anybody know that the nickel costs more to make than a nickel? Just thought I'd throw that in there.
That is a good fact. That is a good fact.
Fun fact.
ESPN came out with its power rankings first of the year for Major League Baseball. Where do you think the Padres came in? Skraby.
Sorry, say that all again.
ESPN's ranking top teams power rankings Major League Baseball just prior to the start of the season. Where do you think the Padres come in?
9.
9 says Tony.
I was gonna say 9 too, but I'll go 10.
You go 10. Number 10, the Padres. Number 9, the Red Sox. Number 8, the Rangers. Number 7, the Yankees. Number 6, the Orioles.
Dang,
that's
all
3
American
straight
League
teams in the AL East. I think the rest are going to be National League because the American League stinks. Number 5, Diamondbacks.
There's a national.
Number 4, Mets. Number 3, Phillies. Number 2, Braves. Never mind number 1.
I don't believe that the Diamondbacks are better than Padres.
Yeah.
I don't think
I'm not saying they are.
I know you're not. I think this. Whose rankings were
they
these?
just had a huge thing go on with the rotation. Jordan Montgomery getting Tommy John. So
this is ESPN's.
I don't
rankings.
think he wasn't going to be in the rotation anyway.
But I think the most telling thing about this rankings is what we just said, that the American League stinks. The top 5 ranked teams are all in the National League.
Yeah.
That says a lot right there. And then the 3 that are in there from the American League are all in the AL East. So anyway, speaking of the 2 divisions that really are terrible, according to ESPN, we'll preview the AL Central and AL West in just a little bit. But first, let's check some rush hour traffic for you. When we come back, we got to hear from Tom Izzo. We've been putting this off all day. But all you people that upset the Aztecs and the portal and the transferring and all that's ever going on in college basketball, Tom Izzo speaks for all of you. Next, after traffic.
From the
5:19 on the clock. Skraby's feeling pretty good. He's got some defenders on the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Skraby, man, money's easy to tell that it's counterfeit. You can totally feel it.
The paper is now made out of a cotton linen blend.
Yes.
People
agree with you. You can feel the difference.
Yeah,
well, people might be a little strong.
Right, one person. But to him, that's people.
Right.
When he gets one person, it's all people.
It's multiple.
But see, I agree with you that if you put two bills, one counterfeit, one not, side by side, and really look at them, you can tell the difference. But if somebody gives you a stack of 6 bills and sticks 3 counterfeit in the middle there, I don't know people who actually thumb through that carefully to make sure their bills are not counterfeit.
A lot of people don't make counterfeit bills that are smaller. So it's usually bigger bills because what's the point of making a bunch of $5 bills?
I'll be honest with you. When I go to the ATM and I push $200, let's say, and then the money, stack comes out.
Yeah,
I take it, I fold it, I put it in my pocket.
Okay, I'll tell you,
8 bills there, and I would not know.
As a guy who's
I'd be wrong
as
every
a guy
time.
who used to service the ATMs when I worked at Bank of America. As I pop my collar,
here we go.
They the money that we get. Like I'm still working there.
Yeah,
the
You're
money
definitely
that
not working it.
The money that they got was coming from a federal reserve type bank. So they bring them in these big bricks of $20,000 each.
I get you,
and but you don't get the counterfeit because it's already been run through the Federal Reserve. So you are safe getting money out of an ATM.
But I'm not safe in the sense that I don't count how much money I get. I just put it away. And now if my wife just heard that, she's going to read me the riot act when I get home.
Are you saying like if the ATM gives you 180 instead of you?
I wouldn't know. That's right. Tony agrees with me.
Yeah, for sure.
That's insane.
You sit there in your car and go 20, 40.
Well, I get it right out
behind you.
Now I'll count it. I'll count it because I have been shortchanged out of an ATM before.
Yes, and it will be very apparent because like when people used to come to us and say, "Hey, the ATM shorted me," at the end of the day, when we go count the ATM, it's going to have more money. And if it's the right thing, they're telling the truth. But a lot of people aren't telling the truth.
Money makes people do some weird stuff, man.
Really weird stuff. Bank of America,
like trick,
really getting a lot of promotion today.
like trick tellers into giving them an extra $3,000.
I'm sure Wells Fargo has the same issues, so we can be equal opportunity.
Of course, Adam Paul in the chat has to disagree with me. When I'm talking about counterfeit money coming from ATMs that's safe, bank ATMs, where you actually get shipments of money, not those ATMs at liquor stores.
Those are no good.
I'm not going to lump those in with the bank ATMs. Because I have no idea what goes on with those.
How much do you have to pay in a service fee to use the liquor store ATM? Like
$1? They'll run $1.
Well, I don't know.
It's never been
$2.75, $3.75.
I'm about to say it's up $3 or more. Yeah, most of the time.
All right. Well, I'll blow $3 on a candy bar, but I will never blow $3 on an ATM fee.
That's why that's just
never going to happen.
That's why you have to get a bank that pays your ATM fees, like I do.
I would honestly rather
it's an online bank.
I'd rather be without the money than pay the $3 fee. I just won't get the money.
I've gotten to that point in my life.
Yeah,
I wasn't always there, but I'm definitely there now. Like, nah, not giving you my $350.
Yeah,
so I can take money out. It's ridiculous.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna go home and wash my clothes. I'm gonna do my banking. I think we got to get our lives together, people. I think that's the real moral of this show today.
Do you see my hair in the camera? I'm just seeing this. This is the type of day. It's just all crazy, and it's like
am I starting to see
your hair?
Am I starting to see some grays pop up on that bad boy?
Yeah, I got a lot of gray. Look at the side of my beard.
Well, I know you have it on your face. I didn't see.
No, I definitely have gray in my hair.
Getting old.
I am getting old.
Let's hear it from my man Tom Izzo.
Right, let's do that.
Tom Izzo is speaking from a place that I think a lot of San Diego State fans are feeling right now. And as we would expect, he hit the nail on the head. Nail on the head.
Talking about the transfer portal.
But what my team's done has been incredible. And I'm not ready to move on. So, Judd, I followed what you said. You know, I'm going to worry today about the guys I got in this program that have done an incredible job this year, and that's it. And if that costs me later, so be it. But Tom Izzo isn't cheating the people that he has that have been loyal to him for this chaos that is going on out there. Is that cool? You got enough? No, because you don't understand. When I came back Sunday night, that was it. There was nothing on my mind but giving these guys a chance to win one more game, get to Elite Eight, and one more game, and have a memory that'll last their entire life, their kids' life, and their grandkids' life, because that's what it is. And so excuse me for being passionate about it or pissed off about it, whichever words you want to use, but I'm not going to talk about it because it's not fair. It's not fair to the people. You could say it's fair to your program. I'll run my program like I want to run my program. And people have a disagreement with that. God bless them. But these guys that gave me everything they could give me are going to have a chance. And I'm not going to screw it up by spending any time on other stuff other than, I don't eat, I don't sleep right now. So why in the hell would I do something else that might benefit me a year from now? And really, it's not going to benefit me now because I don't know what I have. I don't know how much money I have. I don't know which players are leaving or staying. I don't have any idea. So why would I do that? Waste of time.
Talk to him, Tom.
Yeah, preach, Tom. Here's the thing. When you win a national championship or two like he's done, it gives you a little bit more latitude to say these kinds of things.
Rick Pitino's another one.
Rick Pitino can do it. But, I'm with him. And what they were basically trying to get him to admit, is, are you going into the portal? Are you looking for players for next year? And he's like, wait, no, we're still playing now.
I think,
and I like what he's saying, but he's also admitting that he might be falling a step or two behind. They should not open the portal when the season's still going.
I was just going football. We just watched football do the same exact stupid thing.
I know.
Just push it off until the end of the season.
2 more weeks. We can
wait. It's not that difficult. This is not a hard fix. This isn't something that's going to end up in the courts. Just move it back 2 weeks in this case, or whatever the last day of the final game that can be played.
You know that Magoon Gwath, based on the rules, could have gone into the transfer portal on Monday, as he did, with the Aztecs still scheduled to play this weekend in the final 16.
Somebody did that this weekend. I think it might have been somebody in Tennessee.
It was someone who plays for Michigan. Scottie Pippen's son.
Jumped in the portal. They're still in the tournament.
Yeah. That Magoon Gwath could have done that too if the Aztecs are still alive.
How do you show up to the arena?
I don't get it.
Your teammates got to be looking at you sideways a little bit like, dang, dog, you couldn't wait till we lost?
But it's the same thing with the coaches. I mean, Nico Medved was just waiting for Colorado State to lose so that he could take the job at Minnesota. And I wonder if they would have gone to the Sweet 16, would have Minnesota moved on and gone to somebody else? Because he wouldn't have been ready to accept the job. The whole thing is so badly messed up.
Yeah. I don't, and
so
Zig didn't make me feel any better about it. It's like there's no end in sight.
Yeah, if you listen, Mark Ziegler was on earlier, and he did not paint a great picture.
Yeah.
There just isn't one. But maybe a few more people like Tom Izzo coming out and being honest and saying, I'm not going to go into the portal till my season's over.
I do
could make a change, or at least think about a change.
I do like that we are starting to hear more coaches be coaches and not be scared to say these type of things. I hope that that's a trend that just keeps growing, because I think, I don't know.
They're the ones that have a little power, maybe.
Yeah.
That was a good speech by Tom Izzo. By the way, I said yesterday, because you brought up Pitino just now, he took all the criticism for leaving a star player on the bench at the end of the game against Arkansas.
Who wasn't playing well, right?
Who was not only not playing well, but if you saw the game, the kid's mind was in the clouds. He was 3 for 17. He'd given up on the game. That's why Pitino took him out. I am convinced of it. It was nothing to do with the shooting percentage. It was the fact that the kid was not mentally engaged in the game. And I've never been a Pitino fan, but I like what he did, because he finally stuck by what he said, which is, I don't care if you miss a shot, do something else to help us win.
Right.
And he had the guts to sit his best player because he wasn't doing the things necessary. I hope that message gets around also.
Yeah.
You're not guaranteed to be in the game.
The crazy part, listen, I didn't see that game, but I had a hard time believing Rick Pitino was going to take his best player out unless it was something along those lines.
I'm convinced it was.
And
Tony.
to hear people like defending it this morning, are on Patino for sitting him down.
Oh, they're ripping him. Yeah,
it's just I don't know, man.
Well, they don't know. They don't follow. They don't understand.
And that's the thing. How do you fix your mouth to rip somebody when you don't exactly know? And this is the problem with numbers. This is a problem with people who only read box scores and look at the game from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
If a coach knows when his player is not giving the effort that he wants him to give.
Yeah.
And typically when you don't do that, you get pulled out of the game, regardless of what the game is.
Yeah. And they don't do it now as much because the players, the other funniest line of the weekend was the Maryland kid who hit the winning shot against Colorado State.
He might be my new favorite dude.
When they asked him, why do you guys listen to what the coach, and follow the coach? He goes, well, he's the guy who gives us all the money. And the coach went,
hey, he was just being honest. That's a freshman right there. He's like, hey, he's the one that's paying us all this money. At least that's the least we can do is listen to him.
Quick question, Tony. Did he travel? That Maryland guy.
No,
you say no.
Absolutely not.
He took 3 steps.
Nobody said it. So in real time, you said that.
I did. I literally did.
I definitely don't believe you, Skraby. If Chris would have told me he saw it in real time, then I don't believe you at all.
I at least questioned it in my mind. I don't know if I could have called it if I was standing on the court.
In real time, I didn't even think anything of it. And then when it slowed down in milliseconds like it is, and everybody becomes an official, and then I can see why you might think that.
I screamed, "That's traveling!"
All right.
It's not traveling. It's a bucket game winner.
You and my wife, the two Rams fans.
I was mad because I took Colorado State to go a couple more rounds.
That's why you were mad.
Yeah. And then they went down. Colorado State made that shot to put them up. I was like, okay, they're going to win.
Psych.
And then traveling and a made basket. Did he call bank? I don't think he counts.
Absolutely, he called bank.
In the middle of the air, he said, bank!
And the next announcer that says on a bank shot, oh, the bank is open. Please, let's move past that line. It's not interesting and funny anymore.
Just go back to the kiss.
Kiss is
kiss off the glass.
All right, let's get to break. When we come back, we finish our American League preview and predictions on the other side.
Coming up on Wednesday's show, we'll get you a full preview.
And now, the challenger, representing the San Diego Padres, number 20, Kyle Higashioka. Just 1 minute remaining. 4 to go now. Out of here. That one up into the monster seat. Another home run. And that ends the round. He ends the round with 7 home runs. And he has earned a trip to the semifinal matchup. Now the challenger is a semifinal matchup. Number 20, Kyle Higashioka. No doubt about that one. That one carried on to Lansing. That one is gone. He now has bonus time. Just 1 minute remaining. No question about that one. And tapped it up to put up in the championship matchup. And that finishes. Let's see what he can do. And now, the challenger in this championship round, Kyle Higashioka. That one carried out to Lansdowne. That one is gone. And he's earned 30 seconds of bonus time. Just 1 minute remaining. That draw off the right pole. There's a home run. Seconds left. And now, the challenger, representing the San Diego Padres, number 20, Kyle Higashioka. Just 1 minute remaining. 4 in a row now. In, out of here. That one up into the monster seat. Another home run. And that ends the round.
And why NFL mock drafts are so stupid. Everybody has the Giants taking Shedeur Sanders with the 3rd overall pick, so he can be the franchise changer. Oh, but the Giants just signed Russell Wilson today.
I think that's why it's a great spot for him, actually.
Well, it might be better for Shedeur
so
to
he
sit
can
behind.
sit. Yeah.
I know, but teams don't want to do that. I don't think anymore. I don't think the Giants give up their first pick for a guy to sit there.
It's that 5-year rookie scale now. They need to know whether or not they're going to commit early on in that.
I think
you got a better chance of being able to commit if you just let them sit and learn. But you're right. We don't see it.
No patience.
Pat is the last one that we saw that executed well.
That's right. No patience. And we'll see. Maybe the Giants still will take Shedeur Sanders, but I don't think so.
By the way, that also came from a veteran head coach that had spent a bunch of years in Philly and probably said, you know what? This is the best way to do this.
And it's worked nicely for Patrick Mahomes.
Very nice.
So, yes, Russell Wilson's a Giant. Stephon Diggs is a Patriot. We're doing traffic because we got to finish up our baseball picks before the end of the show. Skraby, no more bank stories.
Fair enough.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by your local San Diego County, the UPS stores. You guys are not quite out of the woods just yet. We've got this crash on the Genesee Avenue off-ramp, southbound 5 and southbound 5 in the downtown area at Civic Center. Collision over the right shoulder. Looks like that is in the clearing stage. Now, eastbound King Freeway, report 28th Street, reports of a stalled car in one of the middle lanes. eastbound 8 past Waring Road. Got a stall. That's been moved over to the right shoulder. Also, northbound 125 Fletcher Parkway off-ramp. There is a stalled vehicle being moved out of lanes. Your local San Diego County UPS store locations are hosting a shred event from April 7th through April 15th. 50% off shredding services. Visit the upsstore.com for the location nearest you. See store for details. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Before we jump in, this hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Eliminite Termite. The orange oil experts have termites. Eliminite Termite inspects, treats, and repairs termite damage, all with a full structural warranty. Our orange oil treatment is safe for people, pets, and the planet. No tent, no move out. Protect your home naturally. Schedule a free inspection at eliminitetermite.com. Do you guys want to start with the AL Central? Or we are going to start with the AL Central, actually. So let's go with you, Tony. Who is your AL Central champion this year?
This one's tough. This division, as Chris pointed out earlier, has been dreadful in the past.
But they had 3 playoff teams last year, which is strange.
Which was going to lead me to my next statement, which is they ended up with 3 playoff teams. And they all made a little bit of noise. They made it difficult on their opponents. There's at least, in my opinion, 3 teams that could win this division. Twins, Tigers, Royals. I can't quite commit to the Royal bandwagon. So I'm going to go with the Twins.
Oh, okay.
Twins were not one of the 3 playoff teams last year.
They were not. They led most of that.
Yes, they fell
division
apart
most of that
September.
year, but couldn't close. You know what? I will go with Kansas City.
Oh, wow, after all that. That was a very
you were on the
weird way to get
bandwagon.
there. But okay.
I said everybody, I just can't quite commit, but I'm going to commit.
All right.
I picked the Twins last year and they let me down. I think that's a little gun shy on that. No, I'm changing again. Tigers.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry. That's how
Tigers.
bad. That's how this division is. Like flip a coin.
You sure you don't want to say Guardians real quick? You got a minute to go to the try them.
I thought about it.
Okay.
Tigers. I'm going Tigers.
Chris?
I was on the Tigers before Tony started.
Really?
Yeah, I like the Tigers. I like their manager, first of all. Even
Yeah.
though he got caught up in the trash can thing, I think he can manage.
Even though he cheated.
Move on.
Move on.
No, wait a second.
Move
we don't
buddy.
have time. We got two
We got
divisions
two
to pick. I'm not
Well,
going to
just like
argue
it
with
was
you
like
right
he
now.
got caught up in that scandal where he
Did
cheated.
he set the whole thing up?
He knew about it.
Yeah, he knew, but he didn't set it up. Matter of fact, I think the report said that he instructed
Beltran,
whoever it was to hey,
take it down.
Take it. We got to stop. It's too
All right.
late though.
I'll leave that for
John
another
Boy
day.
had already figured them out.
John Boy had it.
I'm gonna go with the Guards.
Repeat.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's like in the interest of time. Last place team for me. I mean, there's only one team in last place. I'm sorry to your friend Will Venable, but the White Sox are gonna come.
I don't
last.
think you need to apologize. I
Okay,
think Will very well knows where his team is right now.
Chris.
The only way Will can make it out of there is to make up 41 games in the standings. That is not a task anybody can do.
I mean, the bar is low though.
Yeah.
The bar is low.
The bar is as low as it's ever
So
been
we're
in
all
history.
agreeing on the White Sox.
Yes.
All right, Chris, you're up now.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the MVP of the division? Sorry.
Well, it's easy to go with Bobby Witt. He's so good. He'd probably go 40-40 this year, but I'm going to give a little love to the guy that gets overlooked every year in this division. That's
Ramirez.
Jose Ramirez. He's automatic. He almost goes 40-40 too, and then nobody gives him any credit.
yeah, no one
It's
talks about it.
Yeah. All right. Bobby Witt. Well, Ramirez was the same thing, but you don't hear anything. I'll say Ramirez.
All right, Tony.
I'll also say Ramirez. He is probably the most underrated player in all of baseball.
Easily.
He doesn't get talked about nearly enough.
And he's got a good right hook.
Strong.
Strong
Strong,
right hook.
strong to quite strong.
Anderson. I'm gonna go with Bobby Witt Jr. My guy.
Yeah.
My guy, Bobby Witt Jr.
All right.
Tony, best newcomer to the division. AL Central.
So this is there's a technicality in this one right here.
Oh, you got the technical. Oh, now
I
you're
know,
on his case.
You're gonna get me angry.
I think I want to. he left the division. He's back in the division. So I guess he can't be a newcomer then, huh?
Yeah, he can.
Who?
He's new. Hey, you got Santander in the East. He just changed teams. So I think you can do this. Who is it?
Mr. Flaherty.
Jack Flaherty. Fair enough. He's back in
Chris
the division.
goes, yeah, you can do it because I did it earlier.
Yeah, I did it earlier. So it seems fine.
All right.
Yeah, Flaherty joins the Tigers.
Chris?
He's back.
Who was he with last year? Tigers?
The Dodgers. Yeah,
No,
Tigers,
before the
Dodgers, Tigers.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Confused me. I'm going to go for fun with the Minnesota Twins' new first baseman. If you know who that is, you know who my newcomer is. If you don't know who it is, you're not a good Aztec.
Ty
it's
France?
Ty France.
I didn't even know that.
Totally
Honestly.
forgot that Ty was there.
I'll take Ty.
Good call.
I really don't even know.
That's welcome.
There's
to
not
the,
very many.
Welcome to the AL
Not
Central.
very many people raised their hand when they said, "Do you want to join a team in the AL Central?"
You can
The
go.
AL West
You can
is
go
even
with Jonathan
worse.
India
There's not
I
very
thought
many
about that.
newcomers.
You know what? I will go with Jonathan.
because there's no
right.
one else left. Of course,
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to go Jonathan India. All right, I do have a pick for this one, though. My Cy Young for the division AL Central
Is
Cole Reagans
all right
from the Royals.
from the Royals.
Who?
Cole
Reagans.
Reagans.
Going right past our guy Lugo and
Man,
Waka.
Waka Flocka Flame.
All right.
Yes, I am going right past them. Chris,
Okay.
you're Cy Young.
Scooble won them all last year. He was the Triple Crown winner.
Yeah.
But it's no fun to pick him. I like one of the Twins guys, and it's either Ryan or Bailey. Bailey Ober is like dominant, and then he's terrible. I'll go Ryan. Joe Ryan, Twins. Stays healthy.
Tony, Cy Young.
I'm gonna go with the Twins' best pitcher, Pablo.
Yeah.
Lopez.
Now they're all good. Twins have good pitchers.
All right, so there we go for the AL Central. Now we move to an even worse division, the AL West. And we'll start with you, Chris. Who's your champion?
I do not like the Houston Lastros anymore.
Houston.
Yeah, I don't like the Mariners anymore. I can't see the other two, so I would have to go with Bochy.
Rangers.
Texas bounces back after a 76 and 86 finish last year.
I agree. They picked up a lot of guys in the offseason. Tony?
Rangers.
Rangers sweep. for
All
Bochy.
right. I guess I'm up next. No, you're up next, Tony. Last place team.
Everybody's jumping on the Sacramento A's bandwagon. Like they're the
Be something?
They're the team that's gonna be something.
Well, they did finish well ahead of the Angels last year, believe it or not.
I want to believe the Angels are gonna do
The
something
Angels
other
were
than finish
6
last.
games worse than the A's. Ugh.
I'm gonna say the A's.
All right. Chris?
I'm going to say the A's, too, for one reason, because their name is the Athletics only. I hate that.
Yeah, me too.
You don't
and they're wearing
understand
a
how
Las
much-
Vegas patch in
To
Sacramento.
me, it's like nails on a chalkboard. You got to have a city name, and they don't want one, so they finish last.
I will refrain from talking about it again. Got a little hand slap.
You did?
Not really, but
Because you okay.
we,
All right, well,
je-
we'll move off of
we-
this.
Yeah, we
Tony mentioned something about the A's and on a broadcast, I think, is what I'm gathering.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll just
All right.
leave it there.
I'm gonna go. I wanted to be different, but I'm gonna go the A's.
the Angels are there for you if you want to take them.
No, because my division MVP is none other than
Michael Trout.
Mike Trout.
That's because he took him in the 10th round of his draft. Ain't that
I
something?
know, but you know, Mike Trout could be an MVP.
He could.
He's won it like 6 times.
He
It's
can
not
stay
the
healthy.
world's worst pick.
Yeah,
Chris?
no, it's not.
MVP.
Jordan Alvarez just
Great call.
dominates every time.
Tony.
Corey Seager.
Yeah.
Corey. All right. I am not up first here. Chris is up first, and it's going to be the newcomer of the division.
Well, again, the Astros have some guys here. Christian Walker, Isaac Paredes. The Rangers have the guy, though, just to upset the Padre fans, just to tweak the knife a little.
Wow.
I'm going to go Kyle Higashioka for the All-Stars, and Another big season.
I know he was having a good spring.
He did have a good spring. I heard. Yeah.
I saw Kyle came by the
yes, they just
complex, and he was talking to. I think he was talking to Michael King. So I walked up to him. I said, "Hey, man, congratulations, happy for you.
Got your bag."
I said, "Way to get the bag," and he just broke out laughing.
That's cool. I like that. He deserves it.
Now, real quick, does Jacob deGrom count as a newcomer since he hasn't
I was
played
about
for about
to use
6
him.
years?
I was about to use. He's only pitched like what?
Yeah,
3 games for them.
I know. So that was Skraby. You make a call.
No. You said who's your newcomer? You just said
I didn't
it.
say anybody.
Okay. How about you, Tony?
My newcomer will be Christian Walker.
All right.
Christian Walker, yeah, he's a good player.
I really didn't know who to pick, so I just picked Christian Walker as well.
Just now?
No, I picked it earlier. I thought I was kind of smart, but Tony, who's your division Cy Young?
Jacob deGrom.
Really?
Yeah. They just have a dude that got ridiculous stuff.
Does he have an arm lift?
He has one. We just haven't seen it.
He has one. Chris, division Cy Young for the ALS.
Well, to the detriment of the Athletics, it's not going to be Luis Severino. So that was stupid money. Just for you, Skraby, in case you didn't pick him this year, I'll say Logan Gilbert.
Oh.
DeGrom, I think, is the best guy, but it's him staying healthy is not a good bet.
I do not have George Kirby in my fantasy league this year.
I'm taking Logan Gilbert, not Kirby.
All right. Whew. You guys made me think. I'm just going to go with my first instinct and name brand, starting pitcher in the American League West, Framber Valdez.
Framber. You know, about 4 years ago when we did this, maybe longer, I know we were in the AL Central and it was like top newcomer or something or a guy we never heard of. And I remember I said Dylan Cease. I don't know why. I remember this for some. I'd read it about him and he was like this up and coming guy. And I recall you guys going, who's that?
Yeah.
And then I was one of the picks that I got right.
It was.
And then when we interviewed him last week, I wanted to somehow slip that story in there, but I didn't know how to do it. So.
Oh, I was going to say, did I miss that part?
Yeah, I didn't mention it.
He left it alone.
He made me look good, though. I was happy with him for that.
I love that he told you guys he wants to do an entire podcast on his no-hitter. And I think I honestly may take him up on that. We could go through pitch by pitch if he wants to break it down.
He would break it down, too.
I would do that. That would be really fun. I'm putting it out there.
Well, go ask him. I mean, you're in the clubhouse more than most people, and you're already known as a guy that won't talk to anybody. It's time to change that narrative.
You're right. I do. I'm going to do it different this year.
Joe Musgrove said, you're obviously aloof when you go into the clubhouse. You won't say hello to anybody.
Why do you guys think I get so nervous? Because when Chris left the night that we were leaving, I was just finishing up, and Joe Musgrove walked out of the clubhouse, and it was just me and Joe. And so I was like, hey. He goes, what's up, man? And we're talking. He said he was excited about the Aztecs game. I said I was excited about the Aztecs game. Turns out we didn't need to be excited about the Aztecs game.
Yeah,
but I was like super nervous. And Joe Musgrove is he's not intimidating. He's very welcoming. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's just to finish up on a softer, sadder note. But I mean, Bryce Miller, that was one of his superpowers.
Oh, yeah.
Writer for the UT. And we had the sports editor on yesterday talking about how Bryce Miller could go talk to anybody. And get him to open up. And that was a superpower he had. So
for sure.
Maybe you can try to learn that, Skraby, and carry on the legacy.
I have to do something because what I'm doing is not working.
It's not working.
No.
All right, so there's all our picks. We got anything? Tonight's kind of a quiet night in the sports world. Lakers are idle. What's happened to the Lakers here all of a sudden, Tony? After a big hot streak, now they're gonna
the honeymoon is kind of
honeymoon's over for Luka.
And now we gotta kind of get back to work. They when they were on that incredible run, they were as fun as they were to watch offensively. They were one of the best defensive teams. That has kind of went away the last.
Even I would say, what in the world happened with 146 points?
Come on, dog.
That was ridiculous.
Now, in their defense, everything the Bulls were throwing up that night.
It must have.
Dog. My man White, I don't even know that he was looking at the rim.
He's been on
half of the shots.
He had 30-something points last night. And I do want to ask you, because I know you saw it, The move Buzelis made on Luka on the baseline when he went behind the back, dribbled around him on the base, and then went up and dunked.
That guy was pissing me off all game.
I don't know where
he came up with that move. Because he was killing us.
I don't know where he came up with that.
Not only was he doing that, he was shooting like rainbow threes that were hitting the roof.
Yeah.
And not even touching the rim at all.
Well, the good news for you in that is that was his second good game of the year.
He's probably got his third coming up then since we're playing him again.
Bulls and Lakers again Thursday for us Bulls fans.
I always see Luka in pictures. He's always going,
"Hey,
what are you doing?"
My man Luka, I know he wears on. he's talking to them all game.
All right, well, off we go. Skraby's Chronicles are next. Today was a crazy show. I might go home and listen to the whole thing again. It was pretty good. It was that wonderful.
Bank stories at 4:15.
Thanks for being part of it. Yeah, listen to Skraby's bank stories. If you want to learn about laundry, listen to the beginning of the show. We covered it all, baby.
We did.
We'll see you tomorrow at
Chronicles 2. Up next.
Woohoo!